All right. All right, let's get started here. There we go. Bring my chat over. We are live. I will get started here in 1 second. Get started here in 1 second. What's going on, Cody? All right. Is it making a slightly more easterly jog right now? I mean, it's just wobble probably, but right at the end there. Yeah, it does right at the end there. I want to keep this thing off to the west if we can. Man, this is looking intense. You know, they're talking about this being... potentially going through an eye replacement cycle here. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get any sort of radar on this. Although, actually, they do have a radar. Actually, let me see if I can pull it up. Let me see if I can pull it up. This isn't going to give me... this is just going to give me U.S. radar. All right. Let's see here. Let's see if I can get a radar on here. Check, check, check. Can everyone hear me okay? We're going to try to pull all of the latest information right now. I'm going to look on my end and get up at the radar. Zoom Earth. Zoom Earth, are you going to give me radar here? Let's see here. That's not radar. That is satellite. Just getting this stream started, so we're going to get everything set up. Nah, Zoom Earth, that radar is not it. That radar is not it. Let's see, AccuWeather has an okay radar down here. Yeah, it's a little bit of a mess. No, that's a crap radar. Let's see. Weather Channel, you got a radar for us? Weather Channel has a somewhat of an okay looking radar. Still not great. It's lagging though. Yeah, screen is black. That's gonna be a TikTok. That's gonna be a TikTok issue. We've been having that issue. If the screen's black for you over on TikTok, you can go jump on YouTube. I'm on there live. It's a TikTok's been having issues lately. It's you should be able to see me just fine on. Yes, you can. Okay, awesome. Thanks, Cody. What does it mean when they measure hurricane bar? They measure the hurricane's central pressure in millibars or hectopascals. What that means is the lower the pressure gets, the faster moisture can evaporate up through the center of the storm. And when that moisture evaporates and rises up through the center of the storm, it gets pulled into the upper layers of the atmosphere, and it condenses and releases heat. Releases, oh my gosh, Marissa, you're here early. Eric, Suzanne, what's going on? And it releases latent heat, which is the engine, which is the fuel for the storm. So the lower your pressure gets, the less pressure that's being forced down on the water beneath the storm, which means the easier it is for that water to rise and release heat. So as the pressure lowers, typically the storm strengthens and the wind speeds increase. Guys, I know the screen's black. Take it up with TikTok. It has nothing to do with my stream. If you want, I'm over on YouTube as well. If you want to go see me on YouTube, there's no issues over there on YouTube. This is an issue. This is an issue with TikTok. So I think they need to fix their app. Unfortunately. Yep, it's gonna go black. It's gonna come back. I don't know what the heck TikTok's doing. All right, no idea, but it's annoying. It definitely is annoying. I'm trying to get a good Jamaica radar right now. So give me a second while I. That's weird. What is? Yeah, so give me a second while I find a good radar for Jamaica. That one's down. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, there's going to be a ton that are just out as well because the storm is moving in. So I don't know if we're going to get a great radar look at it. Let's see here. There's not really going to be a great look at it. No. Oh. Let's see. There's a satellite, weather radar. Yeah, there's no great look at. So what we're looking at right now is the satellite. If we want to see, I want to see if we can get a look. I mean, we could go like this, but you can see there's just not really a great radar in here. So let's see. We can overlay with the radar, but we're just not going to get a good look at it here. These radars are likely going to be going down. If they're not already down, I think the radars may be already down, but if they're not already down, they're going to be going down pretty quickly in Jamaica with these wind speeds moving in. All right, I'll get you all the latest information now. Okay, so we still got a Cat 5 hurricane on our hands. Very obviously. Wind speeds right now, 175 max sustained wind speeds, 215 miles per hour gusts moving north-northeast at around 5 miles per hour. The minimum central or sea level pressure is at around 901 millibars, almost sub 900. Now, what is being reported is that there may be an actual, here's our eye wall, there may be a secondary eye wall trying to form. If that's true, this could go through ERC or eye replacement, an eye replacement cycle very shortly. Typically, the storm will weaken a little bit when it's going through an eye replacement cycle before strengthening and expanding in size. I don't know. I don't see... You can start to see this outer eye wall expanding, so it's possible, but regardless, there's not really much time for this thing to weaken. No, this is not going to hit the U.S. No, it's not going to hit the U.S. Good early morning, Connor. Yeah, good early morning. Bright and early. That's why I didn't stream last night. I wanted to actually get up as this thing was approaching shore. I've got to get to work in 4 hours, but I'll be on till then. The coffee's brewing, and I got unlimited Red Bulls here. Okay, yeah, does anyone have any questions before I start going over some of this stuff? If we do take a look at the latest from the National Hurricane Center, public advisories, I mean, we kind of know what's all going on here. Discussion and outlook. The center of Hurricane Melissa was near, okay, we don't need the latitude and longitude. Hazards and effects, key messages. Wind, tropical storm conditions are occurring in Jamaica, and catastrophic hurricane force winds are expected to begin this morning within the eye wall. Total structural failure is likely, especially in high elevation areas where wind speeds atop and on the windward side of hills and mountains could be up to 30% stronger. Tropical storm conditions are expected to begin in eastern Cuba today, with hurricane conditions expected in the hurricane warning area starting tonight. Into Wednesday morning, tropical storm conditions are expected in Haiti later today and Wednesday. All right, rainfall. This is scary. Melissa is expected to bring rainfall of 15 to 30. Okay, this grammar is annoying me. Melissa is expected to bring rainfall of 15 to 30 inches to port. Up to 15. I don't know. I don't like the way they wrote this. Melissa expected to bring rainfall of 15 to 30 inches to portions of Jamaica and additional rainfall of 6 to 12 inches for southern Hispaniola through Wednesday, With storm total local maxima of 40 inches, possible catastrophic flash flooding and numerous landslides are likely. Guys, we could see rainfall up to 40 inches. I can't even imagine if that were to happen. Hopefully we don't get that maximum rainfall. That is ridiculous. Okay. A life-threatening storm surge is likely along the south coast of Jamaica today. Peak storm surge heights could reach 9 to 13 feet above ground level. I believe the airport actually in Kingston is about 10 feet. So hopefully they do not experience. I think they'll be far enough to the east to not get peak storm surge. But if they were to, that airport would be underwater. It's looking like right now like they'll probably not receive peak storm surge. But we'll have to see. So as it says here, near to the east of where the center of Melissa makes landfall, that's where the steepest or the highest storm surge will be. The storm surge will be accompanied by large and destructive waves on the northwest coast of Jamaica near Montego Bay. There's the possibility of 2 to 4 feet of storm surge above ground level. Okay, guys, just so you know how storm surge works, but I think most people do. If you're on the east side of the storm, you can see the spin of this storm. Oh, that's a bad arrow. You see the spin of this storm. This storm is pulling this water inland. If this say we make landfall somewhere in here, the west side, you're actually having that water pulled away. So you could have the completely opposite side. On the west side of the storm, your oceans go out. On the east side, your oceans go in. Montego Bay, though, if this goes off to the east of you, once it's up here off to your east, it will begin to pull that water into you. So that'll be later on. The storm surge right now is already starting, very likely in southern Jamaica. And in Montego Bay, this will start later in the afternoon or evening after it's crossing over Jamaica. Although actually, it could start a little bit earlier than that. We'll have to see. Okay, so that's what's going on with the storm surge. I was seeing swells. If we go and take a look out here, and I'll get to questions in a second. I was seeing some swells approaching 20, 30 feet. Let's take a look at what our waves are doing. Here's our current wave heights under the storm. We've got 25-foot waves. That's a pretty big wave, guys. Pushing up along shore, we've got 15 to 16 foot waves, but this is going to continue to increase. You can see as we go forward in time, those swells are going to be pushing up 22 feet waves, trying to push into potentially Treasure Beach. We'll see if they make it over to Alligator Pond, White House, Black River. I'm very nervous about, let's get over here back to the satellite. Let's actually take a look at we're not going to see much on the visible. Oh, here you go. Wow. Look at this eye, guys. It's beautiful. It's just unfortunate, you know. It's like an awesome power, like, you know, but it's unfortunate how dangerous it is. Okay. So, yeah, I'm a little bit concerned. Let's move over to Radar Omega real quick. These bays that are going to trap water, so we're talking up here near Black River and potentially Alligator Pond. This is where you could really get heavy storm surge pulling in Junction, Black River, up towards White House, Ochadon. But again, it all depends on the path, because if this storm does make landfall, you know, let's zoom in a little bit here. If this storm, if Melissa does make landfall, say right here, again, you're not going to have really as significant a storm surge on the west side of the storm, but you'll have the peak storm surge right over here. Now, what would be kind of worst case scenario if the storm were to kind of take a more easterly track, because then you would have peak storm surge trying to push into Kingston. Right now, we're looking pretty good, though. I mean, Kingston is looking safer. I mean, it's nowhere's really safe in Jamaica right now, I would say. Or I would say completely safe, but the eastern side of Jamaica is looking much better right now than it did, 24 to 72 hours ago. That's for sure. You're looking like if this storm continues, this is a big if, on this track, you're not going to receive peak storm surge, rainfall, or wind, but you're still expected to have tropical storm, hurricane force winds. Likely still some storm surge. You probably get 4 to 6 feet. And rainfall totals could still, break 16 to 20 inches. So again, there's no great place to be in Jamaica right now, but if it were me, I'd probably want to be on the eastern side of Jamaica. Again, though, these storms wobble, and you never really know. I don't want to tell, we could see a wobble. You never really know where it's going to make landfall until it makes landfall. They don't move in a perfectly straight line. It's terrifying. Yeah, I agree, Hannah, unfortunately. I hope everyone's having a good morning. I did not stream last night because I wanted to get up early this morning because I think giving people updates as the storm approaches land was a little more important than the all the updates yesterday or yesterday night. Came from Evan's live. What's going on, Gianna? Yeah, Evan has been covering this thing for a while. What is he going on? Like 18 hours? Is he still live? I feel like he's been live forever. What's happening in Claire? Here, let me see if I can pull that up. Clarendon, Jamaica. Okay. Yeah, you guys, again, you're more eastern. You're kind of central Jamaica, but it's looking better for you now than it was 72 hours ago, but you could I'm worried about storm surge specifically in that area. You got to be bunkered down. You're almost 100% going to see, you basically have a 100% chance of seeing hurricane force gusts. You're probably going to see a period of hurricane force sustained winds. BG, I appreciate the sub. I'm actually going to shrink that while I do this. You're probably going to see, you're probably going to see a period of sustained hurricane force winds. I do want to take a look at, speaking of that, let me go into Weather Bell, and I want to see what our winds are looking like right now. So give me a second. I'm going to switch screens here in a second. Tropical cyclone wind. Nope, we don't want that. Let me see here. Pressure tracks. Give me 1 second, guys. I want to switch up the screen here so we can take a look at something else. Maybe I can get this on the Euro. Okay, there it is. Okay. Actually, because what I want right now, actually, I think I can do that. I think I can show you this on Radar Omega or weather-wise. Let's do this. Let's do tropical weather. Let's do wind probability outlook. So of 60 hurricane force 64 knot or above. Here you go. And let me actually take this. Now you can see right here. This is the chances of having hurricane force sustained winds. Montego Bay, almost all the way out towards western Jamaica here. We're sitting at around, and I want to get, let me actually pull this. This is going to be 100%. And then out here is going to be about 60 to 70%. If we were to take a look at this, give me 1 second, guys. 50 to 60%. So you've got really from Jeffreytown down into, Jeffreytown down into Old Harbor, all the way out towards western Jamaica. You're at over a 50 to 60% chance of seeing sustained hurricane force winds. Kingston's a little bit farther out now. Again, unless the storm wobbles farther east, you're at about a 20 to 30% chance of seeing those sustained hurricane force winds for a period of time. You're basically at a 100% chance straight through the middle of Jamaica here. It looks like there's a little bit of a gap of towns here. I don't know Jamaica fantastic, but it obviously looks like it was the bigger population, or I've heard the bigger population is in eastern Jamaica. But Falmouth, if I'm saying these names right, Runaway Bay, Brownstown, Albertown, 9 Mile, Mandeville, Tollgate, Alligator Pond, Savannah, Lamar, Petersfield, Bethel Town, Montego Bay. These areas are pretty much 100% chance going to see sustained hurricane force winds, and some of you are going to see catastrophic winds in that region. So this is the wind outlook right here. Now, let me actually move this out of the way really quickly so that you can see this a little bit better. I'll go to the visible. Here you can see there's really the only place that they're expecting that may not see that sustained hurricane force wind, or that basically has a 0% chance, would be far, far, far eastern Jamaica, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see as this progresses. If we go into, tropical storm force, it's the entire country. You got a 100% chance to see tropical storm force gusts across the entire country here, and then up through Cuba. Taking a look at, we've got tropical outlooks, active storm systems, hurricane hunters. We're gonna have another hurricane hunter flight moving up here pretty soon. We can take a look at the current wind field as well. Let me actually turn this off. We can look at our current wind field, forecast wind radius. We don't need to see that. Wind swath history, that's pretty interesting. Advisory points. Okay, here's the current wind field. Okay, so we've got tropical storm force sustained winds out here that are about to move onshore Billy's Bay all the way down towards Great Bay down here, Treasure Beach. This may be a little bit lagged behind. We probably already have tropical storm force gusts sustained out here along the coast, but this is kind of the outer edge of the winds there. And then our strongest winds are sustained hurricane force winds, aren't too far offshore either. If you guys actually want a distance here, we should be able to measure that. The distance, we're about 28 to 29 miles from seeing sustained hurricane force winds enter into Jamaica. So, yeah, it's not too far away. So anyways, let's get back to taking a look at the storm. Just wanted to show you guys some of this stuff. And we'll take a look at, actually, I want to take a look at some of these. Oh, God, look at that water vapor. That is insane. Upper level, Jesus. Excuse my French. Here we go. There she is. Incredible. It's horrible there right now. Yeah, it's going to be going downhill, unfortunately, pretty quickly. Elaine, Blue, Cherry, Rita, Max, I appreciate you guys. Everyone, what's going on? TikTok, YouTube, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Anyone who joined from Evans Live. Evans lost something, says live, but dark screen. Interesting. Yeah, I know, guys, if you do, by the way, if you're on the TikTok side of this, if the screen does go dark, I promise you it's not my live stream. It's TikTok has been having issues lately with their lives, and it'll put it dark sometimes and take it off, you know. So usually if the screen goes dark, you can close it out, open it back up, or it'll just fix itself pretty quickly. Oh, he lost power and he got shut down. Okay. Morning from St. Thomas. Lots of wind and rain. Yeah, I bet. In the southeast, Clarendon. I don't know how to pronounce that. Clarendon. Can someone? Hey, Trisha, can you tell me how to pronounce that? Clarendon. I hate pronouncing names wrong, but it's always inevitable when I have to say so many names. Morning from Eastern St. Catherine. Lots of rain, but no breeze. Alrighty. Good morning. Thanks for tuning in here. We're going to continue to watch this. I said it right, Clarendon? Well, I said a bunch of different ones. Clarendon is how I want to say it, but it could be Clarendon. Clarendon or Clarendon? Clarendon. Okay. Clarendon. Got it. Clarendon. All right. That's one of the things I do like about doing this, though, is over time I've learned how to pronounce a bunch of cities' names correctly. Over time. Yeah, guys, you know, timing on this right now, it does look like, man, they're saying a 1. Let's take a look at what we think the actual landfall. Well, I want to take a look. It's not the landfall of the eye isn't what's important. What's important here and here. Let me fix the screen really quickly for you guys. Give me 1 second. We're gonna go into pivotal here. I know the screen's black. Okay, there you go. I want to, here we go, tropical tidbits. I want to see when the actual eye wall is going to be moving on shore, because that is where the most intense winds are. So taking a look at the latest 00Z from the H Wharf, this is gonna think give or take. Man, that's tough to tell on there. Let me see if I can get a better look here. That's really tough to tell. I think the eye wall could be moving on shore around 10 a.m., 10 or 11 a.m. at the earliest. You know, I gotta go to work around 9 East or 9 Central, or 8 Central, but that's why I was actually this thing is making landfall regardless. I was hoping it was a little earlier so I could cover that landfall, but I'll be back on this evening too. But I'll cover at least the next 3 to 4 hours as these hurricane force winds move inland, and these tropical storm force winds are already moving into or sustained winds are already moving into southern Jamaica. Now, does the halves B or halves A have this thing getting deepening any more? Gosh, moving in as a 904 millibar. This is just a terrible situation. That's just a terrible situation. I don't know if I'm being honest, we've seen central pressures this low. Someone's going to have to tell me. I'm pretty good usually with my meteorological facts and historical data, but does anyone know, have we seen a landfalling hurricane in the Atlantic Basin make landfall sub 905 millibars? I mean, we've had storms get below 905 millibars. We've had storms get down to 882 millibars. Hurricane Wilma. What was the central pressure when Hurricane Wilma made landfall in the Yucatan Peninsula? Hurricane Wilma, central pressure at landfall. God, I'm going to pronounce this right. I mean, wrong. I do not know how to spell Yucatan. I just realized that. 894 at its first. Okay, so Hurricane Wilma was 894 millibars at its first landfall. Oh, I was spelling it right, at the Yucatan Peninsula. Okay, so not surprising, but also we don't really want to compare everything to Hurricane Wilma because Hurricane Wilma is the strongest hurricane ever recorded in history, human history, in the Atlantic Basin. Now, this storm didn't get far from it. The storm's not too far from it. Wind speed wise, it's almost the same as Hurricane Wilma, although Hurricane Wilma got down to an 882 millibar pressure October 19th, 2005. But it did make a landfall in the Yucatan Peninsula with a central pressure of 894 millibars, which is ridiculous, which is absolutely ridiculous. This would probably be the second or third strongest landfall in recorded history, I would say. Andrew, I don't think Andrew had a pressure of that low, did it? Maybe. Hurricane Andrew, I mean, it did, but at landfall, Hurricane Andrew central pressure at landfall. I like to see what type of historical, records we're breaking here. Nope, Hurricane Andrew had her central pressure 922 millibars at landfall, so about 15 millibars higher, which is still, that's still unbelievable. 922 millibars is still an extremely strong Category 5 hurricane. For those who don't know, Hurricane Andrew, actually, they had Hurricane Andrew. They said it made landfall as a, sorry, let me fix this here. What's going on? Why is it? Here we go, guys. Hurricane Andrew, actually, they said made landfall as a Category 4 hurricane. And then after a couple days, they assessed the damage and they said, oh, no, there's no way that they saw steel bent in half. They saw homes thrown miles, and they said there's no way this was a Category 4. And it's one of the few hurricanes that after the fact, they upgraded it to a Cat 5 because they saw damage that only winds from a Category 5 hurricane could have caused. So they actually upgraded Hurricane Andrew to a Category 5 after the fact. And rightfully so. It was definitely a Cat 5 at landfall. Hurricane Wilma, Hurricane Wilma got down to 882 millibars, Ginka. But at landfall in the Yucatan Peninsula, what did it say there? I think it got up to, I think at landfall, it was 896 millibars or something like that. 890, something like that, right? But, I mean, this is top 3. This would be probably top 3 strongest ever landfalls in Atlantic Basin history. Hurricane Maria landfall. We can take a look at that real quick. Let me see. Hurricane Maria landfall pressure. Hurricane Maria pressure at landfall, 920 millibars. So now you guys understand how strong the storm is, right? We're bringing up Hurricane Andrew. We're bringing up Hurricane Maria. And this storm is putting it to shame, right? I mean, this not really to shame, but this storm, it looks like it's going to make us a landfall with the central pressure lower. Now, it may be going through an eye replacement cycle right now. There are reports that from the radar here, I'm on the satellite. None of the radars are that great. I think the radars are going down in Jamaica. But there are reports that there's an outer eye wall forming, and typically what that means is sometimes the inner eye wall is collapsing and it's trying to reform an outer eye wall, and what happens then is it weakens a little bit as it reforms that outer eye wall, and then the storm, after it finishes its eye replacement cycle, it actually grows in size. So now that's a very bad scenario for Jamaica, because although even if it got weaker, the storm would actually expand in size as it was going through its eye replacement cycle. I think we're running out of time, though. I think even if an eye replacement cycle began right now, we wouldn't be able to see the storm expand that much, but it's going to be a close call. But yeah, this would be stronger than Hurricane Maria and Hurricane Andrew at landfall. What was I'll answer one more question in a second. What was Wilma? I forgot already. Hurricane Wilma. Yeah, Hurricane Wilma that's got to be the strongest, 892 millibars at landfall. Yeah. So I'm a little bit torn on the eye replacement cycle. I think, a little bit of, because here's the thing, a little bit of weakening from an eye replacement cycle. The difference between just max sustained winds of 160 and max sustained winds at 180 or 185, there's not much of a difference there. I think we wouldn't want the wind field expanding from an eye replacement cycle. So I think we actually would rather not see an eye replacement cycle at this point. Good morning from Goshen, St. Elizabeth. We've been having wind for 2 for 2 hours right now. Is that what you're saying? Hello from Westmoreland, Jamaica. Good morning. I hope you're safe. I hope you're bunkered down. No, Katrina was actually a Category 3 at landfall. So Katrina was the issue with Katrina was not the wind speeds. The issue with Katrina was the immense amount of storm surge that knocked down all the levees and flooded. I would say Hurricane Katrina probably had like a 940 something, 944 central pressure at landfall. Hurricane Katrina pressure at landfall. I don't know. I would say in the 940s if I had to guess. Hurricane Katrina pressure at landfall 920 millibars. Interesting. It was 920 millibars. That's an extremely high central pressure for a category 3 though. That doesn't seem accurate, but I think that's probably because they didn't have a pass of the hurricane right before it made landfall, because it's rare to see a category 3 hurricane with that low of a central pressure. But 920. All right. Have people evacuated? I think as many people. I mean, people evacuated who could. I think they closed down the airport. If I'm correct, at around 12 in the afternoon tomorrow, airports were closing down. Or sorry, 12 in the afternoon yesterday, airports were closing down across Jamaica. So some people got stranded. And then obviously some people just can't, don't have the ability to leave. Unfortunately, it is what it is. It's tough. They got a bunker down here. Is power expected to be lost? I would expect power to be lost. Yeah, nationwide across Jamaica. Maybe you keep some power on in eastern Jamaica, but I would expect it to be lost pretty much for everyone in Jamaica. Yes, I'd be shocked if we had some people with power on still there. Now I'm gonna try to pull up some live images from Jamaica. So give me a second here, guys. Let's see if we can get some live. Let's see if we can get some live images of what's going on in Jamaica. I'm gonna go to Jamaica live cams. See if we can see this. I wonder if we can get any on WeatherWise as well. Let's take a look here. We're gonna pull up some live cams. Look at this. Jeez, a little bit of an easterly trend. I mean, it's following the line pretty well at this point. Let me see if we can get any sort of. Oh, sorry. Here, let me fix that for you. I got to get WeatherWise up here. Sorry, I know the screen's black. Here you go. This black screen is on me, okay, and that one's on TikTok. All right. Let's see. I don't think we're gonna have any sort of cams down here. Okay, we do have some cams. So pretty calm up there. We don't have really any right where the storm's gonna be making landfall. Power down. Okay, so we have the power down already out there in Maypen. And then Savannah, Lamar, power is still on. This kind of looks like the calm before the storm here, as you can see. Definitely looking like the calm before the storm. Let's see what type of cams we can get down in along the southern coast of Jamaica if we have any live. Let's see here. Okay. This is an interesting cam here. I'm actually going to pull this up. Okay. So here we go. This is a very interesting one. If you see in the bottom right corner here, guys, by the way, if you're on TikTok, you can hit the button to turn your screen sideways and expand so you can see this better. But we already have immense amounts of flooding. You can see this river. Well, it looks like it probably wasn't a river, but now it is a river. This is actually moving over a road. You can see the street signs here. So this was a road. This was a bridge. It's underwater already. The issue with this being underwater right now, guys, is the storm is well offshore still. I mean, not extremely far. We're going to have a landfall today, but this amount of rainfall and this amount of flooding occurring, well before our system moves inland is obviously concerning. That's why they're saying we could see up to 40 inches of rain in some areas. So got to definitely take this serious. Let me see if I can get a better look here. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, let's take a look here. Okay. There we go. Yep, that's a street right there that's already being flooded over, so you'd expect that at least a foot of rain may have already fallen there. You can actually see the wind in the bottom left corner here whipping as well. Pretty strong winds there in the bottom left corner. So we'll have to wait and see. I'll stay on these cams. We can actually take a look at some other ones here. Let me see if I can get any other ones pulled up, so we can bounce through as many cams as possible. Let's see, Jamaica live cams. Let's see if we can just find some more. Okay, there's some more right there. That's pretty interesting. Okay. Definitely thankful for the people setting up these cams, giving us the ability to see what's going on the ground there, obviously. It's pretty helpful. Definitely helpful. So here we go. Let's go back here. Take a look at some of these live cams. Again, there's that river in the top right corner. There's that what was a road that's now a river in the top right corner. We got a cam down as well. Starting to see the wind pick up. Now I'm trying to see, where is this? HWT Transport Center. HWT Transport Center. Does anyone in Jamaica know what city this is in? HWT Transport Center. In Helene, the storm surge came in, but the water also came from the water table line. Donuts, I appreciate it. Not doing that today, though. Donuts, I appreciate that. Brittany. Renee, Chrissy. Thought about it. The road flooded over is Flatbridge. Okay. Kingston, St. Andrew. Okay. So, wow. I mean, that's actually, I would say, pretty impressive that we have. You can see the camera shaking in those winds in Kingston, because Kingston's pretty far out to the east here. Appreciate the sub. We're going to shrink that down so not to distract everyone. Appreciate the sub, guys. Appreciate the follow. Appreciate the sub. I'm going to be on streaming here at least for another, I would say, 2 to 3 hours as the storm approaches land here. I want to get everyone all the information I can. Halfway tree. Okay. Oh, halfway tree. Is that what it is? HWT. Okay. Yeah. So I get it. And then you guys said, what is that? Kingston. Oops, let me spell this right. Halfway tree. Come on, pull this up for me. Why does this keep... Oh my gosh, come on. What is going on? What is going on weather-wise? Halfway tree. Okay, there it is. So you guys know, okay, you guys know what you're talking about. Kingston. We do have some more cameras down in Kingston, actually. Here, let's go back over to weather-wise, and let's take a look at some of these cameras. Ooh, we're getting a little bit of a lag. There, let's take a look at some of these cameras here. Yep, so we have all of these cameras on here. So we'll continue to look at all these cameras as the storm moves in. Like I said, Kingston may end up... Listen, we don't know what's going to happen with this storm wobble-wise, and rainfall is going to be a big issue for Kingston, potentially storm surge. But right now, Kingston is looking like it's going to be pretty far off east from where the eye is, which is a better scenario than we thought could happen. As I said, 24 to 48 hours ago, 24 to 48, 72 hours ago. Still pretty calm up here in Little London. Oh, we got... Sorry, let me actually pull this out. Here you go. I have 2 radars up, so sometimes I'm on the wrong radar. I apologize, guys. This is what we were looking at down in Kingston. So, and again, Little London, which we would expect to have some... We'd expect these conditions to deteriorate pretty quick here, but it's looking pretty calm right now out in Little London, Jamaica. All right, let me stop doing all this for a second so I can actually answer some questions. I do actually want to turn on something here so we can keep the cams up. Give me a second. I'm going to turn on one of the chaser cams. We don't need that one. Now, let me see here. Properties. Let's go into, not satellite. We're going to want, yeah, we're going to want this. And let's do this. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to get something. I'm trying to pull something out here for you so that we can see what is going on a little bit better with the cams while I'm actually covering this. Okay, that's what we'll do. We'll bring out this here so you guys can see the cams as I'm covering this, and I can go back to the satellite on there. So here's our live cams. I can actually probably pull this down into the corner here. Let me set this up a little bit better for you guys. and then we can get our satellite back up on here, which is what I want. I want our satellite. Let's pull this up here. Interesting, and then my okay, because I have to have it. Okay, give me a second, guys. Sorry, I'm just finishing my setup here. Oh, that was dumb. Why did I pull out of that? And then I'll get to all your questions. Okay, there's some. We'll just pull this for now. This is fine. Okay. There we go. We'll keep this in the corner. Now I wonder if I can. So it's going to keep me on that. All right, that's fine. We'll go back and forth in between there. I want to get to answering some of your guys' questions. So that's what we'll do right now. I'm from Jamaica. You're in Texas right now? Okay, good. They have a camp on the beach on the west coast, Coco La Palm. Okay, we can look out for that. Actually, let me see if I can pull that up. Let's see if we can pull that cam up. Not seeing it this moment. Hope everyone's having a good morning. Hope everyone's safe who's in Jamaica currently. It did not make landfall. It's getting pretty close here, as you can see. There's land. It's about 20. If we were to take a look at the eye, we can actually measure this, see how far it is away from landfall. The actual eye is about 45 miles away from landfall. Now, the most intense winds, the eye wall, is a little bit closer. The most intense winds in the system are only about 35, maybe 30 miles away from landfall, or from moving inland. Very, yeah, organized. It feels like an understatement, right, Mitchie? Extremely organized. Yeah, Dana. It's almost, it's unbelievable to look at, but it's a very unfortunate situation. Obviously, a Cat 6 would be bad. Yeah, Cat 6 doesn't exist, and a Cat 6 doesn't exist for a bunch of reasons. And I agree that we should keep the Saffir-Simpson scale capped at Cat 5. Beautiful eye. It is beautiful, but it feels weird saying that because of the destruction we know it's going to cause. But Mother Nature is beautiful, but it comes. I said this in my video yesterday. It comes at a cost, and it's a very, very devastating. Could be very devastating cost. You know, the eye is very well defined. Yeah, you know the meteor. You know, I went to school for meteorology, and the weather nerd. I actually went to school for meteorology. I left my senior year, and I continued to study on my own for 10 years. Lots of things went on in my life. That's why I also have a uncle who's a meteorologist in New York right now. But the weather nerd in me is so the reason I went to school for meteorology is because I grew up in Florida. I went through the eye of two major hurricanes and a Cat 2, the eye of Wilma, Gina, and Francis, and the destruction, the power of the storms. I was in awe, and I became obsessed with the weather when I was very young. I don't know, elementary school. Karen Donuts, mine, I appreciate it. And so hurricanes are actually what got me into meteorology, specifically out of all the different types of weather disasters. Hurricanes are what got me into meteorology. And this is one that I've studied hurricanes and stared at a lot of them, and it's hard to remember one that looked this, sort of amazing, beautiful, and especially with the speed at which these clouds are rotating around the center. But again, that being said, it's a horrible situation. Tornado for hurricanes. Hurricanes are kind of just so fascinating to me. Luckily, speaking of tornadoes, we don't expect really too much. We could have a couple tornadoes with this storm. We don't expect too many, though, or too strong of tornadoes. That's because we don't have down here. We don't have this hurricane interacting with any sort of surface low or front that's really punching through. That's going to promote a significant amount of shear. So Tornadoes won't be too big of an issue here, but again, if you're near the eye wall, you're going to have sustained, EF4, EF5 type winds. In some areas, it could be bad. What's the storm surge like for Savannah Lamar? Well, if this storm does move up into and stays east of you, your storm surge likely won't be very bad at all in Savannah Lamar, because typically you're going to have your storm surge on the eastern side of the system. Not typically, always, because you can see northern hemisphere, our cyclones rotate counterclockwise. The storm is pulling water into this side of the system, and it's actually pulling water out of this side of the system. So you may actually see your oceans partially retreat in Savannah Lamar. You're really, this is our biggest, I would say right now, storm surge concerns, I would say are the biggest right here where I've highlighted. Yep, Savas to the west. Yep. Making landfall in around 3 hours? I don't think so, 3 hours. Maybe 5 or 6. But it does look like it's picked up speed a little bit. I will say that. So maybe we do get an early landfall. Maybe. Gabby, appreciate you. Sean, are you in Jamaica? Let's see here. Someone I know is going on a Caribbean cruise, I believe supposedly tomorrow. But would that affect? No. I mean, if you're going on a Caribbean cruise, well, if you're leaving from the States, you're probably going to be good. I mean, this storm's going to be out of the Caribbean within 48. I mean, it's going to be moving through Cuba within 48 hours. And the Caribbean's actually probably going to be really nice, because typically with these strong low pressure systems, they pull all that convection and kind of bad weather out of the region that they're in. So actually the Caribbean, we go 48, 72 hours out, it's going to be looking pretty nice. It's going to be pretty calm, but there's going to be obviously some destruction to Jamaica. Red and Donuts, I appreciate you. How bad will this be for destruction compared to other hurricanes? This could be up there, top 5, most destructive hurricanes of all time. It depends. I think if it does go take a little wobble to the east, or if it were to have made landfall farthest to the east towards Kingston, this could have been a lot more devastating. It's still going to be devastating regardless, but I think the little jog west and it's missing what looks to be the main population center of Jamaica. So if you're talking about like money wise, like destruction, like how much destruction these storms do, 50, 100 million, $1 billion damage, it would have been worse if it had made a landfall a little bit farther east. Still could. The storm could still jog. Regardless of that, wherever this storm does make landfall, whoever goes through the eye wall of this system, we're going to see some areas that are completely destroyed. Complete destruction. Catastrophic. The winds right now, and we need to wait for the latest update, but the winds right now are at around 175 mile per hour sustained, with wind gusts of over 215 miles per hour. It's ridiculous. Riddy, I appreciate you. And our central pressure is down at around 901 millibars, which is, I think, top 6 lowest central pressures of all time in the Atlantic Basin. Wind speeds are up there, top 3, I believe, of all time. How fast is it moving? Earlier I saw it was moving at 3 miles per hour. Right now, they have this system moving at, let's take a look. Radar Omega will give me that information a little bit quicker, so I'll pull this up. Right now, they have the storm moving north-northeast at 5 miles per hour. To me, it looks like it may have actually just picked up a little steam in the last couple of frames. Maybe we're moving closer to 10. Brandy, I appreciate you. It's right off the coast of Jamaica. If you can't see Jamaica, here it is. Here's Jamaica. Right there. Yeah. Well, I mean, when I say top 3 for wind, I mean if we're looking at like the strongest hurricanes in the Atlantic Basin history, this would probably be up there with top 3 when you look at max sustained wind gusts over 215 miles per hour. Hurricane Wilma had a sustained wind gusts, max gusts over 250 miles per hour. Hurricane Wilma had sustained winds at 185. I don't think they've pushed this up to 185. I think they still have it at 175. The biggest in 170 years for Jamaica. No, this would be the strongest. This would be the strongest hurricane to ever make landfall in recorded history in Jamaica. I mean, since records have been kept, that's at least what, according to the National Hurricane Center, since records have been kept, this would be the strongest hurricane to ever make landfall in Jamaica. Actually, by a decent margin as well. The storm that made landfall in 1988 was what, a Cat 3, weak Cat 4. Yeah, I would say it would be there, making landfall 5 to 8 hours. Yeah, the eye wall is going to move in first, obviously. It's category 5. It's as strong as it gets. There's a reason we don't go up to a category 6. First off, there's not much of a difference in destruction if you got 155, 165 mile per hour winds or 175, 185 mile per hour winds. Okay, it's catastrophic. If we were to make a category 6, people would sit here and be like, it's only a category 5. It's not the strongest hurricane. No one wants people thinking that. So the Saffir-Simpson scale caps at category 5, and it caps at category 5 because sustained winds of 155 miles per hour or stronger are going to flatten a lot of structures and a lot of, in trees, and it's going to be catastrophic damage. There's no reason to go to Cat 6 and Cat 7 when your damage is just going to be capped once you get that high. There's no reason to downplay the strength of a category 5 because once every decade you get a storm that gets a little bit outside, just above that Cat 5 or into the upper Cat 5 area, and you say, why isn't there Cat 6? It's just, it doesn't occur enough, and we don't want to downplay the strength of a catastrophic category 5 hurricane. It didn't hit already. We're about, I would say, somewhere, we could have landfall within 5 hours. I would say in the earliest. Are structures in Jamaica made to withstand a major historic hurricane storm like this one? I would say this. They don't have the infrastructure and the building strength that we do in the U.S. I think, obviously, the states would be a little bit more well-equipped to handle this, especially a state like Florida, where everything has to be concrete near the building laws are so strict, everything has to be concrete near the shore. Jamaica's taken some hits before, so it's not like they don't have, sturdy buildings and homes, but they also have areas that obviously are not equipped for these winds. And they have some areas that will probably take total losses. No, I know Jamaica has concrete houses. There's just a building code thing, and especially I lived in Florida. The building code is so crazy in Florida now that the storms have to be able to withstand like up to category 5 strength winds. It's crazy. There are areas of Jamaica that are not going to withstand, obviously, these types of winds, but there are also some areas that are somewhat prepared for this. Will Montego Bay be flattened? Listen, the positive thing about Montego Bay is because as long as the storm stays off to the ECU, you're not going to get that insane amount of storm surge. But no, I don't think Montego Bay is going to be flattened. I think you're going to have some heavy damage though. No one's going to be flattened. All right, let's take a look here at what's going on. We've got, as you guys said, halfway tree, Kingston down here in the bottom left. Winds picking up, and you can see the top right here. We have flooding that is now engulfed a road. So this is a river now. This is continuing to rise. You can actually see some rapids in the top right corner there. So we'll watch as this comes in. You can see the camera shaking down there in Kingston. Yeah, top right is the bridge. Top right there was the bridge. Plane is delayed, but one is going out soon. Good to know. We're going to have another reconnaissance flight going out. Let's take a look. This reconnaissance flight is probably going to be the last one before landfall. So this is maybe one of the most important reconnaissance flights because it's going to tell us what this thing is going to move on shore like. This was one of our previous reconnaissance flights from the Hurricane Hunters. And as you can see, they picked up pressures. This one didn't have a pressure. Let's see if we can see what type of pressure they picked up here. Man, that's not giving us the pressure. That's annoying. Let's take a look down here. Some of these aren't recording it correctly. They did pick up, yeah, they picked up wind speeds. Look at that. 161 knots, 162 knots. Someone do the math on 162 knots. It's around almost 190 mile per hour winds, 185, 162 knots, 2 miles per hour. Let's see if we can get down to the exact. Yeah, about 186, 187 mile per hour winds. Record it. I think we had a second hurricane reconnaissance flight have to turn around, which is crazy because you never even see one, but we saw 2 hurricane reconnaissance flights having to turn around. So it's rare. They fly so far up in the storm that typically they don't get, disrupted. But what happens sometimes when you have an extremely low pressure, an extremely healthy hurricane, you get these violent updrafts and downdrafts that reach much farther up into the atmosphere than anticipated. And basically, these hurricane reconnaissance flights are being forced up and then dropped, which is like the worst type of turbulence you can have. And I think they've had actually 2 called off now. The eye is huge. I would say this eye is average size to me. I mean, if we take a look at this, I wouldn't call this a huge eye. It's not a small eye. It's only about 14 miles across. I mean, Hurricane Wilma had an eye at one point. I think that was, like 40. I want to say it was like it was crazy. Hurricane Wilma's eye, I don't know, 30, 40 miles across. Let's see. How wide did Hurricane Wilma's eye? Or not Hurricane Wilma. Hurricane Wilma had one of the smallest eyes ever. I mean, Katrina. Katrina had a pretty large eye. So did, although Hurricane Wilma's eye did get very wide at one point. Yep. Okay. So typical eye size is about 20 to 40 miles across. So this is actually quite a small eye, smaller than average. Yeah, 37 miles across. So I was right, around 40 miles wide. So that's a pretty wide eye. So this is actually about average to slightly below average for eye size. I like when people bring up this stuff though, because it is interesting stuff. I like to kind of compare these storms and see what we're working with here. But overall, I would say it's actually right now a pretty small hurricane, smaller than average with a smaller eye than average. Now, does anyone know what the issue is with having a smaller storm? Why that is actually sometimes concerning? I would say in this case, a larger storm would be more concerning. But does anyone know why smaller storms can bring in some red flags here? Compact, stronger, faster wind. Exactly. The smaller the storm is, the easier it is for the storm to continue to intensify and keep those max winds in the eye wall. As the storm begins to expand, it typically begins to lose its shape. It typically can struggle to maintain its strength. So you have a tight cyclone, you're typically going to have a more intense storm. So the small size of this storm is the reason we've seen it maintain this ridiculous low pressure and ridiculous high winds for so long. It's because of the size of this storm. If it were to go through an eye replacement cycle, which some people think it may right now, it would expand in size. But at this point, like I said, I don't think we want to see an eye replacement cycle, because then we could actually have the hurricane force winds expand and the storm surge expand out east and west across the entire country of Jamaica. Cavoy Barnes, Confused Blonde, what's going on? I appreciate you guys. Sorry if anyone gifted, I missed it. Dr. Tell. CO Kathy. There could be embedded tornadoes. Typically, though, with our systems down here in the Caribbean, your tornado chances aren't as high. What happens in the States is they run into these surface lows, cold fronts, and you get all of this interaction and shear that promotes a lot of tornadic activity. You don't see that typically down here in the Caribbean. So we could have tornadoes, but tornadoes aren't the biggest threat with this. We're not going to see it. We're not expected to see a big tornado outbreak with this system like we saw, with some other systems. I think Hurricane Katrina had one of the largest tornado outbreaks in history, actually, back in the day. Mouse, I appreciate that. Heavy wind in Chapelton. Clarendon here right now. Okay. What's the low pressure? What's the low pressure at now? 901. It could be lower. Yeah, so heavy wind moving in to central and eastern Jamaica. What time is it? I might need to go get my coffee. I've been streaming for an hour. I'm going to go get my coffee. When I say go get my coffee, I'm just walking out to the kitchen and walking right back. I won't be gone for more than 2 seconds. Why did it stay so long around DR? Seems like it froze there. Storm is moving out to the west. And then we had a storm system. Let's see if I can show this on here. The storm is moving out to the west. Let's go into actually Caribbean. Gulf Caribbean. Mezzo, I appreciate the galaxy. Oh, I was supposed to shoot you a text, Mezzo. I've been on since about 4:30 in the morning. Guys, Mesomat's going to be covering this as well. MESO, M-A-T-T. MESO, M-A-T-T. I'll be off in about 3 hours, and when I get off, Matt will be on. Likely, Matt, the entire day? Something like that. So, but I do appreciate the follows, guys. I appreciate the subs. If you don't know, like I said, I'm going to keep doing this for another 3 hours. Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. But I post 7 days a week. I've got a 9 to 5 that I work 40 hours in, and then I work about 40 hours on this. I post 7 days a week. Updates. Typically, most of my updates have to do with the States, but obviously, if there's something major going on like this around the globe or in the Caribbean, anything like that, I'm covering it. I also live stream typically 5 to 6 days a week as well, every single day. My goal is to answer everyone's questions. My goal is to give everyone updates on the tropics and winter weather and severe weather and everything every single day. I've got a Discord as well where that gives up-to-date live information all day, every single day. Everything from volcanoes to hurricanes to earthquakes to flooding, everything is in my Discord. It's Connor's Climate Corner HQ. Connor's Climate Corner HQ. If you add me on Discord, I'll add you into the Discord, make you part of the Climate Crew. And like I said, everything's in there. We got a mod team as well that helps. That's always keeping everyone updated. So all my links and all of my, everything you need to know is in there. Everything you need to know is in there. And where I get all that information from is in there as well. Try to give you the most accurate information. So, for instance, for this, we're getting most of our information from the National Hurricane Center. I don't want to give anyone bad information ever. All right. Good morning, Brandon. This was just born into the perfect conditions, yes, for massive acceleration. It's intriguing because it's spinning so fast and so steady. It's moving slow geographically. There's so many weird things about this storm, and you nailed some of those, Katie. A lot of times when you have a slow-moving cyclone, what can actually happen, or a stalled cyclone, is it causes a lot of upwelling underneath the storm. The storm needs warm water to strengthen. The warmer the water, the faster evaporation you have off the surface. And that evaporation is going to pull moisture into the upper atmosphere, and then it's going to condense, releasing latent heat. That heat is what fuels. It's like when you put gas in your car to drive. It's what fuels this storm. It's what strengthens the storm. But when a hurricane or cyclone typically stalls, and this is what's weird about this system. The system isn't acting completely normal. When it stalls, you typically get a lot of upwelling, which means it pulls all the warm water off the surface, and then cold water underneath that surface warm water replaces it, and then now the hurricane's stuck pulling up cold water, and it begins to weaken. This storm hasn't cared. It's moved slow. It's stalled. It hasn't lost its strength. It's continued to strengthen. So pretty interesting. Also, yes, it's remained symmetrical, perfectly symmetrical for so long now. I cannot tell you guys, storms do not keep this tight and beautiful of an eye and do not remain this symmetrical for this long. They almost 100% of the time go through, start to wobble, and then they get an eye replacement cycle. The eye closes, the storm tries to re-get itself together, and sometimes it will get itself back together and expand and look impressive again. But we haven't seen the storm falter at all. It's just completely ignored some of the physics we expect with hurricanes. So even though, this is going to go down as one of the strongest hurricanes in Atlantic Basin history, it might not go down as the strongest. It's going to be one of the strongest. It's going to go down as one of the most intriguing for sure. I think intriguing is a good word to use there, Katie, because there's a lot of things the storm has done that has just been very, very confusing. We also have a ton of records. The strongest hurricane ever this late in the season. The driest eye on record. The driest eye on record. What that means is if you have a lot of moisture in your eye, the drier your eye is, the stronger the storm is, okay? Because once you start to get moisture into your eye, that eye begins to break down. That's what can also cause an eye replacement cycle. The eye is something like minus 5 degrees Celsius here. It's or minus 4.5 degrees Celsius. It's breaking, shattering records. So lots of interesting stuff going on here. Let me take a look at some of the cams again. Let me see what's going on here. We've still got these rapids, unfortunately, out here. Let me fast forward this cam a little bit. We've still got these rapids over here moving across. This was a road, and it's underwater. And unfortunately, this area could see another 15 to 20 inches of rain on top of what it's already seen. So Yeah, not great, not great. We can take a look. I can try to see actually if we can get some more cams on here. Give me a second. I know there's some other cameras set up around the country. I want to see what. Yeah, that's the flapper. Man, that's what it looked like. That's unfortunately. All right, let me see if I can get some better cameras here that are a little bit closer down to the southern coast. I think those are the best we're going to do right now, but we'll see some of these cameras start to look pretty crazy here in a little bit, unfortunately. There's a lot of cameras on this one as well. Yeah, there's a lot of cameras on this. Okay. Oh, this was a while ago. If you guys want to know what that bridge looked like, what that camera looked like, here, if you guys can see in the top right corner here, Carolyn Millie, appreciate any of you gifted or followed. Appreciate you guys. You see the top right corner here, guys? That's what the bridge looked like, okay? You see that? What are we at? 5, 6, 7 feet above. You guys see that top right corner? Again, on TikTok, you can hit the button, turn your phone sideways. Wow, 3,500, 3,600 people in here. That's what it looked like. What does it look like now? As we were saying, what does it look like now? This is what it looks like now. And let's make sure we're live. This is what it looks like now. Right here, top right. Okay, and this, we have a lot more rainfall to go. That's the unfortunate part about that. Flat bridge, yep. Yep. What radar or computer program do you use for your radar? This is WeatherWise. This is Radar Omega. Windy is a great radar to use. This is completely free. Right here, this is Windy, windy.com. You can actually go on there. Appreciate the sub. You can actually go on there and look at this for free. Now, you can pay the subscription. Windy has the cheapest subscription. And it's, I don't know. I feel like it's like $6, $7. I shouldn't have said that. Now everyone's going to start memeing. $7, $8. But I don't remember. It's the cheapest subscription. And look, it's a pretty nice radar, right? It's a pretty nice radar. Radar Omega, WeatherWise, Windy. Yeah, here we go, chat. Don't make me ban that. Don't make me ban that. Those numbers. But guys, okay, enough memeing. Take this seriously. Of course I had to say it, but I really do think it's somewhere in there. But Radar Omega, WeatherWise, Windy, they're all free, but you can also sub. None of them are expensive subs. I think the most expensive is $15 a month. That's probably, you know, clearly the most expensive. WeatherWise and Windy are pretty cheap. They're just a few bucks for the subscription, but you can also use them all for free is what I'm trying to say. You can use them all for free. You just won't have every feature. Yeah, I would say in under 5 hours. We could have landfall in under 5 hours. At the earliest. Storm's picking up a little bit of speed here, for sure. Radar Omega really needs to highlight Jamaica just like WeatherWise does. You see Radar Omega kind of, it has it behind the system. We really need to highlight it like WeatherWise does. That's why I'm staying on WeatherWise right now so you can really see where this thing is. I do want to look at Radar Omega to see where our wind. Let's take a look at this really quickly. Let's take a look at our wind. Let's go active system, wind probability, hurricane. No, we don't want to see that. Sorry, that's not what I'm trying to look at. We're trying to look at forecast or current wind field. Okay, let's look at our current wind field and let's go and move into visible. So this is a little wrong because our storm's a little bit farther off to the north here. So we definitely have sustained tropical force winds already on shore, probably getting close to Savannah Lamar down to Alligator Pond. And our hurricane force wind, I would say our tropical storm force winds are probably up here. And these orange hurricane sustained force winds are probably closer to here because the storm has moved a little bit farther off into the northeast. And these are going to cover a good portion of the country, obviously. Thanks for this live. Yeah, no problem. I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate you guys showing support. Can you see the track of the hurricane in water temps? No, here's the thing, though. Well, we could get a big strengthening right as it approaches shore, too, by the way, because the warmest water sticks around typically right near the coast. Our waters here are baking, so we could get a quick little That's the problem. I mean, we're gonna get this land interaction and elevation interaction is gonna try to weaken the storm, but also the warmest waters are right ahead of it. So we'll see who wins. Is the water warm enough to strengthen the system and ignore the elevation and land interaction, or does the land interaction weaken the thing right before it moves in? Sadie, what's going on? Is there any system out behind Melissa? I'm in Antigua. Just want to make sure while I'm watching Melissa. No, there shouldn't be. If you guys do want to take a quick look at, do a little modelology and take a look at the forecast models, like people like to call it. It's annoying. Western Atlantic, GFS, that system moves out. Now, there was for a while, the GFS did actually want to produce another tropical cyclone out in the kind of Western Caribbean here. For a while, we were watching potentially another system here that would want to do something like this, but it looks like right now we're not seeing that. That's good. We are expecting a lot of sinking air out here now. We are expecting a lot of sinking air, which means our chances for any more significant, strong hurricanes like this one throughout the rest of the season are pretty low. I think most people are thinking this is the last major storm of hurricane season. It's not guaranteed, though. But I was saying, I've been saying for months, moving into a weak La Nina, taking a look at the water temperatures. If any cyclone got itself together in October or even early November in the Caribbean, it would be violent. And here we are. This is Harvey level rain. Yeah, guys, they're saying we could see potentially maximum up to 40 inches of rain. 3.5 feet. It's pretty crazy. I'm looking at some of these videos here from the island. Here's your bridge that's underwater. How big are the waves going to be? Well, taking a look at swells. I mean, this system wants to, you can see 23 foot waves moving into shore. You could get a storm surge up over 13 feet. So you have to imagine 13 feet of storm surge, 23-foot waves. We're looking at like 36 feet of water. It's a lot. It's a lot. That's not a good time. Raheem, appreciate the sub. Let's continue to watch this, guys. It's definitely picking up some forward momentum. We could have an earlier landfall than expected for sure. Maybe even 3-4 hours now at this point. How bad is it? Has our flight gone out yet? This is one of the strongest hurricanes in Atlantic history. And I don't like. I'm not the type of person who's going to fearmonger you guys. There's just no way to describe this other than what it is. It's broken multiple records. It's maintained its strength for an unbelievable amount of time, and it's going to make landfall with potentially one of the lowest central pressures ever in recorded history in the Atlantic Basin. So I'm not trying to fearmonger anyone. There's no way to describe this storm in a way that sounds, it's not that bad. It's the winds aren't that bad. The storm surge. There's really no way to describe it that doesn't sound scary. I will say, as long as you're not in a low-lying area in Jamaica, you're staying inside, especially if you're on the eastern side of the country, you're going to be fine. As long as you're bunkered down, you should be fine. Listen, water takes more lives than any other force on planet Earth. You definitely would rather deal with wind than water. So you got to get away from the rivers and the ponds and the streams. You really don't have much time anymore, obviously, but you just got to get to higher ground. You don't want to be on top of a mountain when a storm like this hits, because that's going to amplify the winds 20 to 30%. They're going to be 20 to 30% stronger up there, but you need to be away from at least the lowest lying areas. What was I about to do? We're about to see if our hurricane reconnaissance flight is out yet. I don't believe it's taken off yet, and I really want this thing to take off because we want one last pass before this makes landfall to see what the final determination of strength at landfall is. Yeah, landslides as well, exactly. Is this one stronger than Maria? This one is projected to make landfall stronger than Maria, yes? Yes. All right. Antigua. What did I say? Did I say Antigua? If I did, I'm sorry. I know how it's pronounced. I probably just, whatever. Antigua. Yep. Lesser Antilles. Yep. Where's it headed to next? Cuba. I spoke about this in my video last night too. Originally, they were seeing this as a Cat 2, Cat 3 moving into Cuba. If you guys watched my video yesterday, I said, you know, if this moves across a little bit farther off west in Jamaica and it's not over land for as long, it maintains this strength, we could actually have a Cat 4, Cat 5 making landfall in Cuba. They now have actually updated. The National Hurricane Center now does have this making landfall potentially as a Category 4 in Cuba. I don't think we're going to keep Category 5 strength, although this storm has been impressing us and has been doing some weird things. The reason I don't think we're going to make landfall in Cuba as a Category 5 is because of the steering current to the north. Excuse me. Here's this cold front, which is kind of bringing a lot of wind shear to the northern part of the system. Not really affecting it yet, clearly, but as it moves off farther to the north, I think a little bit of that shear will kick in. A little bit of dry air is going to be pulled in with that shear. So the steering and as storms speed up, they typically will begin to weaken as well because they begin to expand. So I think Cat 4 is probably the peak it'll make landfall in Cuba but we can't say that a Cat 5 is off the table. Still possible. This is weather-wise that I'm on right now. I was just on Radar Omega. The other screen you see in the little bottom box right there, that is windy. Radar Omega, weather-wise, they are all great ways to see this stuff, and they're all free. There are subscription options where you can see a little bit more, but they're all free. My daughter is in Cuba, and university. Hopefully, it doesn't shift as she's in Havana. Yeah, Havana should be safe. Havana, Cuba, right now should be perfectly safe. I don't see this thing shifting that far west, so she should be good. Stump, I appreciate you. Let me go grab some coffee, guys. I'll be back in just a second. Literally, I'm 1 minute. Okay, I'm just gonna go pour a cup of coffee. All right, so give me two seconds. All right, I appreciate you guys being in here. I appreciate the support. I'm gonna continue to try and support you guys as well and give everyone in Jamaica the information they need. Hopefully, we get another hurricane reconnaissance flight down to the storm here in a little bit so we can get some updated information. But all you need to know right now is this is a catastrophic storm, Category 5, one of the strongest hurricanes in recorded history in the Atlantic Basin. The time to prepare is done in Jamaica. I'd say the best the best information I can give anyone in Jamaica is get away from streams, ponds, the lowest of elevation. You don't need to go on top of a mountain, but get away from the lowlands, because we're seeing some potential rainfall totals of up to 40 inches. They think the maximum amount of rainfall could be 40 inches in some areas, which would there's no avoiding a flood in that scenario. I'll be right back, guys. Let me just pour some coffee, and I'll be right back. All right, what's going on, guys? I am back. Give me 1 second to look at something, and we're going to continue this stream. One moment. Let's see here. One moment. We're going to continue this, guys. Give me a second. One moment. Let's see here. Okay. All right. Let me just look at chat and answer questions here for a little bit, and then we'll continue. I'll continue my dialogue. I got a little quiet music playing in the background. I always do on my stream. I think it's kind of soothing in some situations where people are nervous. But I can turn it down if you want me to. Typically, it's very quiet. I don't know. You guys might barely even be able to hear it. But yeah, so ask some questions here. I'll answer, and then we'll continue to... let me actually see what's our live feed looking like here of our... Okay. Cat 5, yes, it is Cat 5. Okay, cool. Yeah, I try to keep them just quiet music so it's not overbearing, but I think it's better than silence. Location of the eye now. The eye, let's see about how far offshore it is. Let's go to water vapor. See, the only frustrating thing about this is I want to see... Okay, our eye is about 30 miles offshore, I believe. Let me actually go and take a look at this on weather-wise. We should have a measuring tool on here as well. Where is my measuring tool on weather-wise? Come on. We should be about 30 miles offshore. What's frustrating on Radar Omega is this is not allowing me to... Here, let's get I can get a different look here. Let's go low-level water vapor. Visible red. Because we're not going to see the storm quite yet through the visible radar. I would say, because our eye's a little bit ahead of this, our eye's about right here. I would say the eye is at probably still about 40 miles offshore, but the eye wall is closer to 25 to 30 miles offshore. Yep. All right, let's go back here. Let me keep answering questions. Turks and Caicos. The Turks looks like it's going to be good. You'll probably get some storminess. Minor, I don't even think you're gonna get much storm surge. Minor storm surge. This should stay off far enough to the west of you. If you're in Turks, you better keep paying attention just in case there's a weird wobble your direction, but the odds that you guys see a major impacts from the storm are pretty low as of right now. Do we know where it will hit the U.S.? This storm is not going to hit the U.S. It's going to stay off the coast of the U.S. It's going to move over Cuba potentially as a Cat 3, Cat 4 hurricane tomorrow. Looks like it's going to make landfall in Cuba around 1 a.m. So, I mean, maybe even late tonight, but likely tomorrow early morning. And then we're going to be dealing with it over the Bahamas as we get into Wednesday afternoon. Massive win. I'm moving to Florida next week. When will it hit Jamaica? I mean, it's already they're very close. They're only about an hour to 2 hours away from going through the eye wall is moving in. So they're already starting to feel the effects. We already have tropical storm force winds in Jamaica, and hurricane force winds aren't far behind. How fast is the storm moving? Last we saw, I believe it was moving at about 5 miles per hour to the northeast. I think it may be moving a little quicker right now. It looks like it's picking up speed. I really want this hurricane reconnaissance flight to go out. The issue is, typically we don't have any issues with hurricane reconnaissance flights with turbulence and, danger of them going down. I believe we've never lost a hurricane reconnaissance flight or a hurricane hunter flight. But there's been 2, if I'm not mistaken, that have had to turn around due to turbulence because this is such a violent storm. That I don't know if this is true or not, but I almost feel like the National Hurricane Center, I almost feel like they're just like, let's not do the last pass because they've had so many issues with these hurricane hunter planes flying into this storm. But I would like to see another hurricane hunter plane take off so we can see, because right now we're at 901 millibars, 175 max sustained winds with 215 mile per hour wind gusts. I haven't seen weakening. We could be sub 900 now with even stronger winds. Regardless of it, this is a little stronger, a little weaker. It's not going to make much of a difference damage-wise, though. So it would just be interesting for, historical data to see what this actually makes landfall as. Appreciate the gifts, guys. Appreciate the follows and subs. I appreciate the support. Seriously. When will it rain in Texas? We're not going over that right now, but well, I can tell you this. Let me pull this up off camera and I'll look at our rainfall. 5-day rainfall. Texas isn't even projected to have any rainfall unless you're in the far south, unless you're maybe a little bit in Houston over the next week. It's supposed to be pretty dry across a lot of the plains and Texas. I'll flash this over to you real quick so you can see. There's our 7-day rainfall outlook. Texas looks pretty dry, right? I will say cold temperatures continuing to push out east, guys. By the way, I'll just show you this quickly since some people are asking. I mean, our 2-week outlook out east is cold and the west is about to heat up, all right? But let's focus on this storm for now. Typically, in my live streams, I would go over a lot of severe weather, winter stuff going on in the States, but I want to try to focus on this right now. Airports affected. Airports are closed in Jamaica at this point. I believe they closed most airports in Jamaica at 12 in the afternoon yesterday. Montego Bay could see 2 to 4 feet of storm surge. Depending on how far east or west this storm goes, it could be worse. Could be better. Let me actually I'm trying to think about. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be on for at least another 2 hours. Let me take a sip of my coffee. Sorry, I'm just trying to think about what I want to do. Where's my telephone? Give me 1 second, guys. Parachute impact when it goes to land. Talking about Jamaica? Is that a city in Jamaica? If you're out in eastern Jamaica, you're likely going to be in a lot better situation. If you're talking about out there east of Kingston, out towards Morant Bay, you're going to be in a lot better of situation than if you're in central to western Cuba. I mean, central to western Jamaica. So I'm thinking Cuba because it's making landfall later tonight or early tomorrow morning in Cuba. Tropical storm force sustained winds in eastern Jamaica are very likely. Heavy torrential rainfall is likely. Minor storm surge far eastern Jamaica is likely. Luckily not major. Yeah, Cuba going to be okay. I mean, listen, it's if it makes landfall as Cat 4, Cat 5 in Cuba, we're gonna have issues, obviously. But even a Cat 3, we're gonna have major issues. Regardless of even the strength of the winds, the rainfall is gonna be an issue for Cuba as well. But we'll get there after this passes. Tonight I will be covering what the impacts. Tonight when I live stream around 9, we'll talk about what the impacts to Jamaica were and what the impacts to Cuba are going to be before landfall. My friend traveling to the DR, will this affect her? The DR is going to be fine. I'm sure that, in planes, no. If you can take a look, guys, at plane routes, and you can see planes are going like this. They're flying around the storm right now. If you were to take a look, you can do flight trackers, and there's tons of planes all out here, but none of them fly near the storm. So planes can fly out to DR. They'll just take a longer route. DR will be fine. This will bring some storminess out there from outer bands, but they'll be fine. Yeah, I mean, actually, in the grand scheme of things, it's actually a pretty small hurricane size-wise, but it's an extremely, extremely powerful hurricane if we're talking about wind speeds. You know, the strength of this thing is one of the strongest in Atlantic history, which has to do with it being actually a smaller, more compact hurricane. Smaller, more compact hurricanes tend to be stronger. Landfall noon. I'm telling you right now, I was thinking that too. I think we could see landfall, though, closer to 10. Maybe even 9. Hard to tell. This thing does look like it's picked up speed. It was moving at like 3, then 5. I'm waiting for an update. We don't have another reconnaissance flight out, which stinks. If we can get a reconnaissance flight out, we can see what the latest is with, you know, well, really satellite can tell us how fast it's moving, but latest with the wind speeds and all that type of stuff and pressure. What is the altitude of the hurricane above land? Well, the stronger the hurricane, the higher up into the atmosphere it reaches. So, you know, we're talking about tens of thousands of feet reaching into the upper atmosphere, into the troposphere. The base of the storm is just like any other storm. It gets very close to the surface. Thanks, Marissa. Seems obvious, but some people do come in here and they say, where is this? Which is fair. Not everyone's paying attention to everything at all the time, especially if you're not down here. Bahamas will be southeastern Bahamas we're gonna have to watch them as this storm moves through. Yes, that's gonna be tomorrow and Thursday's issue. It still hasn't hit. Why? Because we had a little bit of a stall last night. We thought we'd have landfall right now. Landfall is probably just a few hours away, though. I would say the outer eye wall. Of the strongest winds are probably right here. That's not very far off the coast of Jamaica. 20 miles maybe. Pretty close. Try to see. It's following this path pretty good. Slightly making a little slight eastern jog here. God, this is such an impressive system. What about the people in the Mandeville Mountains? That's not. Man, they could see. I'm hoping you stay just on the outside of the eye wall, because if this eye wall goes through, man, yeah, we could see 170 plus mile per hour gusts at the surface in the mountains there, maybe even higher. It could be very bad for Mandeville. Mandeville. I don't know if I'm sorry. Mandeville. How do you pronounce that? I know I'm gonna butcher some of these names, guys. Screen is black. Yes, sorry. That's a TikTok issue. It's. You can also join me on YouTube, guys. I'm live on YouTube, and it's not going to have any of those issues. TikTok's been doing weird things with live streams. It's on their end. We figured that out. Mandeville. Okay. Let me see here. Will this affect the Bahamas? Southeastern Bahamas, yes, as we get into tomorrow. Alligator Pond is done. I mean, Alligator Pond, yeah, the storm surge is going to be bad. The storm surge is going to be, I think, the biggest issue in Alligator Pond, let alone the rainfall and wind, but the storm surge in Alligator Pond. Alligator Pond could see some of the highest storm surge from this system. I don't think it couldn't. I mean, I think it could get above 13 feet. Is this a record hurricane? It's broken many records. Not every record, but many records. One of the dry side in recorded history. It's the strongest hurricane in Atlantic history for this late in the season. It's probably going to break a record for the longest maintained pressure, central pressure under 910 millibars or something like that. It has maintained strength for an extremely long period of time. It's very close. It's only about 18, 19 millibars away from breaking the all-time central pressure record in the Atlantic Basin. It's extremely close to breaking the all-time wind speed record in the Atlantic Basin. So there's, yeah, broken some records, very close to breaking other ones. This is going to go down as top 10 strongest hurricanes in recorded history. We'll see top of that or bottom of that list. Regardless, doesn't really matter. I mean, right now, obviously, we just want people to be safe. But it is, you know, if you're a weather enthusiast, it is an historic moment, historic system. How is it in comparison to Irma and Maria? It's stronger than Irma and Maria. It'll make landfall stronger than Irma or Maria did. Not by much, but by a little bit it will. Yeah, so here's what a lot of people don't understand. Not every hurricane spins at the same speed. Some don't actually spin as quickly, but you can still have the same strength of wind speeds. It's the same as not every cold front or MCS moves the same speed, but the faster it moves, you can get higher winds. The actual rotation of the clouds around the low pressure here is impressive. It is whipping. I mean, absolutely whipping. For those of you who don't know, at the center of our storm is a low pressure. The low pressure is spinning counterclockwise. Our moisture is being pulled up through the system, courtesy of the warm waters beneath the eye. It's condensing, releasing latent heat. And on top of our system, we have high pressure that's spinning clockwise. So counterclockwise in the eye, clockwise in the above the eye. So our water comes up, condenses, releases heat, and then is kind of all of that heat is sent out through the storm. And this is what fuels and generates. This is the engine for the system. So, but it's not. It looks like our storm is obviously just spinning counterclockwise, but the actual high pressure on top is spinning in the opposite direction. It's a very weird phenomenon, but it's what keeps these systems self-sufficient. Mandeville. Got it. Can I check Hanover? That's Germany. We don't want to go there. I'm guessing you mean Jamaica. Okay, Hanover up there near Lucia. I'm guessing that's how you pronounce that. Elgintown, Johnsontown. Yeah, I mean, biggest issues with you guys are going to be rainfall and wind. You shouldn't have too big a storm surge. 2 to 4 feet, maybe even 5 feet of storm surge is possible. That's not catastrophic. It's not great, though. It definitely could have some flooding from storm surge. Hopefully, the eye wall remains to your east. There's a chance the eye wall remains to your east up there. That'd be best case scenario for you guys. But regardless, you're likely going to have periods of sustained hurricane force winds. Yeah, how's the live feeds currently? Let's take a look at that. Let's get the updated live feed of some of these cameras. Here we go. The sun's coming up there. You can actually see her on that bridge there. What is it, guys? Flat bridge. So you can see that. Water's continuing to rise. Flooding continuing to occur. You can see off the coast there over in Kingston. And now this is actually paused. Not surprisingly, they're having some issues with these cameras. That flooding is terrible. Let me see if we can get some other... there's cameras on weather-wise as well, but some of these cameras we can get online. I'm thankful for these people getting some of these shots. You see some of these cameras are struggling, obviously, because they have very strong winds moving up overhead. Whoever set up this camera, though, on Flat Bridge, that camera's doing great. Floodwater's continuing to rise. You can see they're carrying with it tree limbs and stuff now down. I want to say river. It's not supposed to be a river, but it is a river. Yeah, all cams are going to go. Yeah, the radar's gone for the most part. You're here from TikTok. Welcome over. Yeah, if you're having any issues with black screening on TikTok, just join me on YouTube. It's a TikTok issue. All right, let's take a look. Hope everyone's doing good. Like I said, I post updates on weather every single day. I'm on all platforms: Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, X/Twitter, whatever you want to call it. I post updates every single day. I've got a Discord as well, Connor's Climate Corner HQ. You just add me there as a friend, and I'll add you in there. Big part of the climate crew. We got all the information you could ever want about all weather in that Discord, Connor's Climate Corner HQ. It's just my name with HQ at the end. Our channel name with HQ at the end. But I appreciate you guys being in here. I appreciate you showing the support. Woke up at 4 a.m. this morning. I wanted to cover as much as I could before I have to go to work in a couple hours. So we're going to cover this as it moves into shore. For those of you who just hopped in here, Category 5, up there, top 10 strongest hurricanes in Atlantic history. And this will likely go down as probably the top 3 strongest landfalls in history, with the central pressure down at around 901 millibars. Could even be sub 900. We'll see if we can get a Hurricane Hunter flight out there. Devastating storm surge, flooding, and winds obviously are projected for Jamaica. Likely to be worse on the western side, central to west. Likely to be worse in central to western Jamaica, although eastern. We could have some wobbles. Eastern Jamaica is still going to get some storm surge, some pretty strong tropical storm force, sustained winds, hurricane force gusts, and heavy rainfall as well. And then late tonight, we're going to be seeing this approaching Cuba potentially as a Category 4. And that's going to be a whole nother problem. And then Bahamas the day after. So it's going to be a long 48 to 72 hours. Is Hurricane Melissa stronger than Hurricane Katrina? It will make landfall stronger than Hurricane Katrina made landfall. What was Hurricane Katrina's max central pressure? Let's take a look at this. Or lowest. Katrina got down to 902. So yes, this is a lower central pressure than Katrina. So this would technically be classified as a stronger. This did get stronger, at least recordedly stronger than Hurricane Katrina. Guys, the issue with Katrina was not the wind speed, though, and the central pressure. The issue with Katrina was the size of the storm and how much storm surge it pushed into a region of the United States that was below sea level. Why we built an entire city. Sorry, my mic just went out. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Sorry, I don't know what I hit. Can you guys, on both sides, let me know. Okay. TikTok can hear me. YouTube can hear me. Okay, cool. All right, we're back. All right, I don't know what I hit there. The issue with Katrina was, us genius Americans decided to build an entire city 5 to 10 feet below sea level right along the Gulf Coast. Genius, I know, just like we built cities in the desert. And so we had to build levees that were invested in and weren't built correctly. And Hurricane Katrina got so large, it pushed a wall of water 20 to 30 feet high directly into the city. Hurricane Katrina's issue was the water, not really the wind speeds. The wind speeds were strong. It wasn't a good time, but the water was the issue. Yeah, guys, the screen's going black on TikTok. Nothing I can do about it. That's TikTok's issue. If it continues to happen, just join me over on YouTube, Connor's Climate Corner. I'm on YouTube. Typically, though, it fixes itself pretty quickly. It fixes itself pretty quickly after it goes black, but that's something on TikTok's end, not my end, that we figured out yesterday. Typically, when it goes black, though, it'll come back. I appreciate the follows, guys. Pam, what's going on? Good morning. To be fair, that was the French. Hey, you know what, Junkman? You're right. You're right. Yeah, I know it's TikTok because we're not having the issues on YouTube. There's no black screens. So, I mean, it's either TikTok or it's the TikTok app. Although my TikTok Live Studio app is fully updated. So, I think it's just a TikTok issue. But TikTok, if you're watching this, I love you. Don't ban me. 1 second. Let me make sure everything's good here. I think all my sound is still good and everything, but I just wanted to double check. Yeah, we're doing good. The 175 mile per hour winds will carry a swath 30 miles wide. A swath, I think 30 miles wide across the island. Everything. I don't think everything's stripped bare. Again, we're not going to have those sustained 175 mile per hour winds at the surface everywhere. In small areas, we could get those peaks. Typically, that sustained 175 mile per hour winds is just above the surface, but there will be strips of and then you go on the other side. The worst place to be is on the edge of the eye, so you don't get the break, the wind speed break from the eye. So, I'm worried about this. These areas in here could be pretty bad. Those areas could, see some pretty, definitely flattening of vegetation. Hopefully not flattening of homes, but it's pretty strong. Montage Bay update. Let me see here. Montage here. Am I spelling this right? I'm not finding it. Jamaica. I'm not finding it. Yeah. So Pam, it's actually a pretty small hurricane. Hurricane Wilma, when it was in the Caribbean, as compared to this one, Hurricane Wilma was like this. So look at the size of this storm. Hurricane Wilma was, okay, and if you were to compare it to how big Hurricane Katrina was, Hurricane Katrina, when it was in this is actually a slightly below average size storm, but it's extremely intense. Hurricane Katrina was like this. You could fit 4. You could fit 4 Hurricane Melissas inside Hurricane Katrina. But that's one of the reasons this storm is so powerful. Strong, compact, tight hurricanes tend to maintain their strength and increase in intensity the quickest. Guys, again, if you're having issues on TikTok, that's a TikTok issue, not my stream issue. You can join me on YouTube and it won't have that many issues. Montego. I was like, wait. I was like, I should have known that's what you were trying to say. Montego Bay. Yeah, Montego Bay, look, you're still looking like you're going to get the eye wall, 2 to 4 or 3 to 5 feet of storm surge. So still looking pretty, I'd say, bleak for now. Hopefully, for Montego Bay's sake, this takes a little bit of a jog to the right. But right now, it's still looking pretty bad. Yeah, he couldn't handle the issues. Yeah, I'm having some people jumping over on my YouTube from TikTok. Listen, TikTok's been very nice to me, but the goal is, I think, to eventually end up just on YouTube. So if you guys want to jump over there and subscribe there, that's where I'll be. I mean, I live stream every single day or 5-6 days a week on YouTube, and I post video updates on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube every single day. But TikTok's been having a little bit of issues lately. Yeah, if you refresh your screen, it'll probably fix the problem, but yeah, it's only happening around TikTok right now. Landfall is probably going to be within 4 to 5 hours, maybe less. Welcome over, Mama Mia. What areas did you say you were worried about? Yeah, for areas that may just go through the eye wall and not going to break from the eye, so we're looking at like these areas right in here. I guess specifically. We'll see, because this thing could jog to the right and left. Montego Bay, Petersfield, Cambridge, Mandeville, Runaway Bay, Alligator Pond. But everyone in the middle as well. Black River, Santa Cruz, Albertown, Falmouth, and anyone who's near these areas, obviously. Now, storm surge-wise, Alligator Pond could get the worst storm surge. Again, at Kingston, out in eastern Jamaica, it's not like it's going to be a fun day. Probably going to get some hurricane force gusts, some minor storm surge, and some heavy rainfall as well. There's really no great place to be on the island. I'd probably want to be as far east as possible, though. Yeah, prayers for Jamaica. Yeah, max wind gusts have been recorded over 215 miles per hour. Where did Grill be affected? You guys are luckily pretty far out to the west. You'll probably get sustained hurricane force winds. I'm not too concerned about Negril. Is that how you pronounce it? Negril. Not too concerned about storm surge because you actually have water being pulled offshore. That's good. Rainfall and hurricane force winds are an issue. It's going to be a lot worse off to your east, though, which is good for you guys. Will Bermuda be affected? Right now, it has this storm moving over Bermuda as a Cat 1 or Cat 2. So, yeah, that's a little bit farther out, but we will have to watch that as we get later into the week. It looks like Halloween morning, 1 a.m. So, we could be looking at this Friday morning. We could have this storm moving over Bermuda. Now, the cone of uncertainty is very tight because as these systems get picked up and thrown off, they typically go in a pretty straight line. So I would say Bermuda's probably inevitably going to get some effects. We'll see if it moves right over the country or not. Florida's fine, correct. Emma, welcome over. Ocho Rios. We'll continue to look at some cams here in a second. Ocho Rios, Jamaica. Yeah, storm surge-wise, you shouldn't be too bad. We'll have water getting pulled away from you. Rainfall and wind is the biggest concern with Ocho Rios. Is that what it is, Ocho Rios? If this storm does take a little bit of a jog to the right, you guys may end up going through the eye wall, which is what we don't want. Which is what we don't want to happen. That could be pretty bad. It is manufactured. Educate yourself. It is not manufactured. Because if this was manufactured, how could we have had hurricanes like this back in the 1800s before all this technology? One of the most deadly hurricane in U.S. history made landfall in the 1800s in Texas. You're telling me we had planes manufacturing tropical cyclones back in the 1800s? Doubt it. That storm took, I don't know what the count on that was, 20,000 plus people. Yeah, it's very easy to disprove that. Unless you think that we had the technology to do that 150 years ago. Sweet, what is that? Sweet and Sassy. Nice name. I appreciate you. Appreciate the support, guys. We've had over 100,000 people in this stream since I started. 3,000 people on TikTok right now currently. We got some people over on YouTube as well. We got about 200 people over on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being in here. Just gonna try to keep giving you the most updated information I can. I am waiting for another, like I said, hurricane hunter flight, hurricane reconnaissance flight to fly into the storm. Do we have one going out? I'm shocked we don't. I'm shocked we don't. I'm interested to see if let me see what's going on. Let me take a look. I'm gonna keep this here. Let me see what's going on X. Let's see what's going on NHC. What they're talking about. Whoa, Pam, I appreciate you. Pam, you didn't have to do that. Thank you so much. It was early morning for me. I was on at about 4 a.m. I'm trying to do this before work. You're the best, Pam. I appreciate that. Let's see, NHC. Are they giving any updates on why they're not putting out another hurricane reconnaissance flight? I believe it's because they've had now 2 scares with some heavy turbulence from flights, which is rare. But these updrafts and downdrafts are so violent in the system that even the hurricane hunter flights are struggling to fly through. We've never lost a hurricane hunter flight, and they do not want to lose one today. God, this is getting very close to shore. Let me see if I can get some X updates while I'm out here on the side. For those of you who don't know, I do post updates daily on X. I don't know how to build followers on X. I have like 100 followers on X, and I post like 20 times a day with the information. Appreciate the sub. Appreciate the sub. Let's see what's going on. Any new information? I want to see why they may not be going into the storm, although I think I know why. Yep, it has not. Yep, Max Velocity said that Hurricane Melissa has not weakened at all since last night. Very rare to see a hurricane sustaining this level or this strength for this long. I think a lot of you guys did see this, but I want to show you guys this anyways. Just a beautifully impressive system, dangerous system, but look at this. Okay, and for those of you who don't know, this is what I was trying to describe earlier. This is a high pressure at the top of the system. You can see these clouds fanning out. This is moving clockwise. Down here at the base of the eye, the storm is moving counterclockwise. So clockwise, counterclockwise down at the surface, you can actually see the winds moving up like this. You can see the pillars. And then as they get up there, they're releasing heat. And that's that heat, the heat they're releasing is what is causing all of this kind of, these fluffy clouds appear to be expanding and lifting up into the upper atmosphere, the stratosphere. So really impressive here. But like I said, though, down here at the base, we're moving counterclockwise. Up here at the top, we're moving clockwise. So high pressure at the top, low pressure at the bottom. This is an incredible shot from hurricane reconnaissance flight. Let me get out of here. Push it back over here real quick. I think there, yeah, this isn't even more. I think this is, God, some of these shots are just ridiculous. Some of these shots are just incredible. I got to show you guys this. Look at this. Yeah, guys, I know you're saying my stream is frozen. It's a TikTok issue. It's not my stream. If you're having issues on TikTok, just join me on YouTube, Connor's Climate Corner on YouTube. Same exact name on YouTube. TikTok is having issues. My stream is doing fine on YouTube, so it's something on the TikTok side. I promise you, I usually do not have these issues over on TikTok. Or it's not a computer. It's not on my end. It's not on my end. It's on TikTok's end. If it was on my end, I'd be having issues on YouTube as well, which I'm not. But yeah, very impressive, right? Very impressive. Here we go. So lowest pressures in history. Right now, Yes, right now, Melissa would be the have the seventh lowest pressure in recorded history in the Atlantic Basin. Not too far away from the strongest, though. About 19 millibars away from Hurricane Wilma. But again, the issue with this storm is it's making landfall at this central pressure. Hurricane Wilma made landfall on the Yucatan Peninsula at about 892. Most of these storms up here, I appreciate the sub. Most of these storms up here did not make landfall at this central pressure. This is going to be the third or second strongest storm to ever make landfall at time of landfall. So it's a little bit deceiving there. What, guys, this is just... This looks like AI. I feel like this has to be AI. Some of these images are legitimately hard to believe. Have you guys ever seen an eye wall structure like this? Ever? So again, like I said, the top of this system, this is a high pressure. All right, we're rotating actually clockwise. We're rotating counterclockwise down here. You can see our moisture. You can see evaporating right here. And then condensing, giving us this fluffy cloud look at the top here. And this is the heat that it's generating. And then that counterclockwise motion is expanding that heat into the outer rims of the hurricane. Incredible. This is incredible to look at. Obviously, it's sad, dangerous, but it's incredible. No, that's fake. This is AI. This is AI. Yeah, you want to know why? You want to know how I know this is AI? Because the clouds wouldn't be moving down into the storm. They'd be moving up and out. So whoever did that, they put it the wrong direction. Here's Hurricane Melissa. Absolutely insane. All right, let's get back to the storm. Let me get back to answering questions. Just wanted to show you guys some of this stuff here. Yeah, guys, TikTok's having some issues. You can join me on YouTube if you want. TikTok, it's freezing, unfreezing. I know AI gets pretty annoying sometimes. Beautiful and scary, exactly. Winds are going to be a huge problem for Jamaica. There's no way I would have stayed on an island with the Cat 5 coming. Yeah, unfortunately, some people don't have the option. But if they had the option, I hope they got off. Moved over 1,000 miles from Texas coast because of hurricanes. Yeah, still a Category 5. It will make landfall as a Category 5. My YouTube name's the same as TikTok. Connor's Climate Corner. Same thing. Yep, Connor's Climate Corner. It's what it is on all platforms. X, Instagram, everything. Discord. Discord's Connor's Climate Corner HQ. But I'm streaming right now on YouTube and TikTok. Yeah, a lot of people don't have the option to leave, unfortunately. But there are people who stayed who have the option, and I think that's not the smartest idea. It's going to drop to a Cat 4. It will make landfall as a Category 5. It will make landfall as a Category 5. It will likely drop to a Cat 4 before making landfall in Cuba, maybe even a Cat 3. According to Tropical Tidbits, there's another recon flight en route. Is there? Okay. Okay, we want to see what this is as it moves in. Okay, they're not showing it on. Okay, let me take a look at Tropical Tidbits here. That's pretty big news. We want to see what's going on here. Tropical Tidbits. Let's go to aircraft recon. There is a plane en route right now. There is a plane en route. What is this? October. Just appreciate the subs over there. Appreciate the follows, guys, and the support. So there is a plane en route. Give me a second here. It will likely make it into the system before it makes landfall. So we're gonna get a final look at how strong the system is before it makes landfall. Yeah. So the plane right now looks to be around here. Here, you guys can't see what I'm looking at. Looks to be around here. So it's not too far away. We're gonna see this last couple frames, and it's crazy for me to even say this because this thing you're just waiting for it to weaken. Storms don't maintain the strength this long, but look at that last frame. You like, what is this? This is just absolutely incredible. We're gonna start to see some daylight here, so we may be able to get a little bit of a visible radar in now. Let's see if we have the visible radar yet. Not quite yet. You can see our visible radar. See, we have visibility up to about here. Sun's coming up, so we'll see that in a little bit. Hopefully I'm on for that. I'll be on for another couple hours. This is an unbelievable sight. It does look like Yeah, landfall. This is picking up in speed. We could have landfall within 2 to 3 hours, 2 hours maybe. But the eye wall is going to be right about here potentially, right about here maybe. It's hard to really tell because we don't have a radar. Could be right here. We're 15 miles, 20 miles off away from seeing the eye wall enter Jamaica. I appreciate you guys, Kari, Pia, Iris. I'm sorry I've missed some people I know. I appreciate anyone who's gifted, followed, subbed. I appreciate the support, guys. How does a plane measure the hurricane? It's a good question. It's a pretty simple question to answer as well. I actually, my dream was to be a hurricane hunter. I wanted to fly into hurricanes. That was my dream when I was a little kid. They fly, well, they try to fly high enough above the system to where they don't have any sort of violent turbulence, although they've had twice with this storm that they've had to abandon missions because the updrafts and downdrafts are so violent in the upper atmosphere, higher up than they probably project it. But what they do is the hurricanes fly in and they drop these barometric pressure readers, or they drop in all these other little devices that fall down into the storm and through the clouds. And on their way down, these devices can detect wind speeds, the pressure, the moisture content, and all these other different things that we need to see how strong a hurricane is. So they just drop all of these probes. I don't know if it's hundreds or thousands, if I'm being honest, but it's a lot. They drop all of these. I think it's, you can see the passes from each probe. So it's probably around, it could be 100, a little over 100. But they drop them down, and that data is then relayed back up to the plane, which is relayed back to the National Hurricane Center. So they're just dropping these devices into the storm. Almost like if you guys seen Twister, when he, Dorothy, you know, that their whole goal was for the tornado to pick up Dorothy and all those devices to scatter through the tornado, and then they can read information inside the tornado and send it back. Just like those for a hurricane. Kind of like the movie Twister. There you go. You got it, Kim. Do they also drop seeds for cloud seeding? Listen, cloud seeding is a thing, but the cloud seeding technology isn't strong enough to actually create any sort of, like, we can create like little small, we can create like a 1/10 of an inch of rain with cloud seeding. The issue with cloud seeding is maybe with if the technology continues to get better in the future, it could be an issue. But cloud seeding is a thing. It's not a conspiracy, but it's a conspiracy that we're creating violent tornado outbreaks or violent severe weather outbreaks with cloud seeding. Cloud seeding has been something that's been experimented, and I believe it was originally experimented in China because they had such crazy droughts, and they were trying to find ways to get some rainfall for their crops. But cloud seeding technology isn't, we give it too much credit. It's not that great right now. We're like I said, we're able to produce, if we spend tons of money on a cloud seeding operation, we can produce a 1/10 of an inch of rain. So as much as we want to think that cloud seeding is this like incredible technology, it's not that incredible. I mean, it's a cool technology, but we don't have the ability to create these massive storms. Down the line in the future, if it gets better, could it? Maybe 100 years from now, 50, 100 years from now. But right now, cloud seeding operations aren't able to produce that much. People underestimate the size of the globe. Okay, little planes dropping things you underestimate the size of the globe. Cloud seeding flooded Dubai. Okay, we're gonna move on from this. I recognize cloud seeding as a thing, but it's we don't have the technology to create massive rainstorms yet. Thank you. So many people blame cloud seeding. Yeah, people really give a lot think that our technology is way more advanced than it is sometimes. But cloud seeding is a thing. It is real. It is real, and I think that the worry is that it could get much better. How many hours is the storm? How many hours is the storm until it hits? We could see this thing making landfall here in 2 to 3 hours, maybe 2 hours at the pace that it's picked up. Guys, chemtrails. When a plane is flying through a moist atmosphere, you have heat from a plane and from an engine going through moisture, and that creates condensation, which creates a trail of a cloud. Okay, that's physics, so not chemistry, whatever you want to call it. Pretty simple explanation there. you got a warm engine flying through moist air, condensing moisture into clouds. Yep, that's how it works. That is how it works. All right, we're not gonna get into conspiracies or anything like that. We're gonna talk about what's important here, which is Hurricane Melissa making its approach into Jamaica. What we need to change for this to have less impact, we're kind of out of time. We're not going to see any sort of...
A new flash flood warning has been issued.
That's in Oklahoma. We're not going to see any sort of rapid de-intensification here at this point. De-intensification won't start until this thing's over land and having that eye wall begins to have that land and elevation interaction with Jamaica. Why is the eye expanding? It has gotten a little bit bigger. And I'm actually glad you mentioned that. I didn't even notice. The last couple frames, it's gotten a little bit wider. Could it be trying to do its eye wall replacement? It doesn't look like it. It's still too symmetrical. I think it may be expanding because these are the warmest waters it's moving over right now. And it might have just got a little bit more juice down there from the sea surface temperatures. Did it already hit Jamaica? No, it's currently moving in. We have the kind of leading outer edge of the eye wall getting pretty close to moving into the southern coast of Jamaica. What does a black cloud in the middle mean for intensity? Yeah, you know, you can kind of look. So the color of these clouds is the height of the clouds. So the higher the cloud, typically the more intense your winds and the storm. So these are pretty high clouds here. This is where you're going to have the strongest winds. But especially right here, this black ring right in here around the eye, it's going to be the most intense winds. As you expand out, cloud tops get a little bit lower and a little bit lower. Again, the higher the cloud top, the stronger the system. That's because the higher the cloud top, typically, the stronger your updrafts are. And with the stronger your updrafts are, the stronger your downdrafts are. Updrafts will bring moisture and expand those clouds up into the upper atmosphere. So height of a cloud is typically directly correlated to the strength beneath it. It's the same thing when we look at a radar and we see, you know, the red, the orange, and the green. The red is typically the strongest part of the storm. It's the highest cloud. Downgrading to Cat 4? No. No, this is making landfalls to Cat 5. Probably downgrading to a Cat 4 before it hits Cuba, but not guaranteed. What is the wall of a hurricane? I always hear it, but I don't know what it is. Yeah, the wall of a hurricane is... The eye wall of a hurricane is, and we were just looking at this. The eye wall of a hurricane, and we've seen tons of these images coming out. Here you go. This is the eye wall, right? So this is a real video from a hurricane reconnaissance flight flying into Melissa. This is not AI. This is the eye wall. Okay, this is the calm at the center of the storm, where we have the lowest pressure. This is where the pressure is so low. The force pushing down on the surface here is so little that all this moisture is able to rapidly rise and then expand and condense. If you're in the eye wall, that's where the most violent winds are. So taking a look, this is probably a better way to look at it. You know, the area that's right around the eye, right around the center. Let me actually pause this so we can get a better look at it. Let's get this to the end here. Give me 1 second. 1 second. This area right here surrounding the eye is where we have the strongest updrafts. This area right in here is where we have the most violent winds. Typically, it expands out a little bit further. It's going to be like this. And the farther away you get from the center, the lesser the winds. This is where you have the highest cloud tops, the most violent up and down drafts. So it's just the most violent part of the storm. The area directly, this area directly around the eye. Look how close this is getting it to Jamaica here. It's getting scary. All right. Forbidden Donuts. Interesting way to look at it. So there's nothing that we can alter to make it not as powerful. No, not at this point. In Australia, our spin the other way, right? Yep. Southern Hemisphere, your cyclones spin clockwise, not counterclockwise. Guys, if it's freezing on TikTok, you can join me on YouTube. Connor's Climate Corner. Same exact name on YouTube. I'm live there as well. TikTok's having issues. It's not an issue with my live stream. It's an issue with TikTok because we're not having those issues on YouTube. It's specifically TikTok they've been having these issues since yesterday. Yeah, MTL, he said, we ain't going to YouTube, just fix it. It's nothing I can fix. Call up to it's TikTok. Other streamers on TikTok have had the same issue yesterday and today. It's not just me. It's a TikTok issue. Hasn't made landfall yet? Not yet. If you don't want to see the issues, then just go over to YouTube. YouTube has their ish together, as you could say right now. Yeah, it's TikTok servers. I will say, I think one of the reasons we could be seeing this on TikTok is because we do have so many people live streaming. When you have a lot of people live streaming major events like this, you can get a kind of a server overload, and I think that's causing a little bit of issues on the TikTok side. That's good. You can still hear my information. You can also refresh. It's the same thing like with these radar apps. Sometimes weather-wise and Radar Omega, when we have major weather events, lag, go black, because the servers can only handle so much, so many people using them at the same time. Yeah, for those of you just joining, I mean, this is a record-breaking storm. It's going to go down as one of the strongest hurricanes in Atlantic Basin history, one of the strongest storms to ever make landfall. We're just hours away. We're just hours away from landfall. How far is the plane? Let's go take a look. Let's see if I can get an update on that. We do have another hurricane reconnaissance flight flying in, and it will give us some very valuable information. The plane is currently at 75 degree west, 15 degree north. So let me see here. 75 degree west, 15 degree north. Can I look at that on Google Maps? Show me my... One second here, guys. 75 degree west, 15 degree north. 25 degree west, 15 degree north. Okay. Map location. Here we go. Yeah, I want to search by... Come on. Here we go. So the storm is currently... the plane is currently right here. That's flying into the storm. See that dot? That's currently where right around where the plane is, that little blue marker. So it's getting close to the storm to get our final pass to see what this actual system's doing. So I would say it's right around here. Go back here so you can see what I'm talking about. It's right around here. So it's getting close to our hurricane to get a final reading of the storm. It'll probably get a reading right as this thing moves into land. Why is people saying on Jamaica daylight right now? Yeah, the sun's coming up in Jamaica. We can take a look at let's take a look at the latest cameras. This is live. Let's go actually to a different camera so we can see it a little bit better. As you can see, the sun is coming up in Jamaica. It's about what? Is Jamaica 6:30 or 7:30 right now? I believe it is 7:30 in Jamaica right now, guys. Correct me if I'm wrong. 7:30 in the morning. Am I correct? Yeah, guys, if it's frozen over on TikTok, again, you can join me on YouTube, Connor's Climate Corner. That's a TikTok. TikTok servers are having issues. 6:30. Okay, thank you, guys. You guys all answered quickly. 6:30. Okay. 6:30. So, yep, the sun's coming up over there. Here we got some video in Jamaica. Let's see if we can get a better video. Obviously, that our main bridge that everyone's talking about, flat bridge, is underwater. Let's see if we can get some... Yeah, look at this. Look at this, guys. Let me get you over so you can see the video. Sorry about that. This top right video, obviously that was a bridge. That was a road. We're seeing trees being carried down the street right now. Tide's starting to come in. We're starting to get some more flooding occurring. What the heck? Why did that just show up? Oh. Pam just became a member of the Climate Crew over on YouTube. Pam, I appreciate you. I appreciate the support, guys. I forgot that's what I have for that. We'll continue to watch this. Obviously, conditions are going to continue to deteriorate. The worst of it is not here yet. The worst of it is getting close. But this is kind of, which is crazy to say because you have roads underwater and you clearly have some structural wind damage. But we're far from the worst of it yet. We're far from the worst of it yet, unfortunately. But we'll watch this as it moves in. The outer eye wall is getting pretty close to Black River. Did all the weather nerds crash TikTok? That's kind of what's happening. Like I said, there's so many people on TikTok that streams are crashing and going black. Yeah, guys, if your stream is broken or going black, it's a TikTok issue. You can join me on, you can exit out, come back in, refresh the stream. It'll fix itself. It's not an issue on my end. It's TikTok. I am live streaming on YouTube. Connor's Climate Corner, the same exact. I appreciate the tip and the subs, guys. The same exact name over on YouTube. There's no issues. There's no delay on YouTube. So Connor's Climate Corner, the same exact thing. I think it's actually, if you go on my TikTok to my homepage, it's the link's right in there. Josh, thank you for the $2 or £2 super chat, whatever it is there. What is it like directly in the middle of the eye? Completely and utterly silent. And calm. I went through the eye of Hurricane Wilma. Hurricane Wilma made landfall as a Category 3 hurricane in southern Florida back in 2005. And I can tell you, there's people say that you start to hear birds start chirping violently because it's the first break they get after going through an eye wall. We went outside in Hurricane Wilma. The sky's in the middle of the eye wall. We went outside. We had actually a canopy over our entire street. Every single tree in our neighborhood was down. I had never seen the sky from my road because we had a canopy of trees over it. Looked up, the sky was blue. Birds were chirping. There was a light breeze, 3 to 4 miles per hour. It's very ominous and spooky. And then as the other part of the eye wall begins to come in, you look down the road and you see the wind starting to pick up. You see trees starting to blow, and then you say, okay, it's time to go in. That wind's coming towards you. It's a very, very scary but incredible experience. And then everything gets silent. The birds start to go quiet as the wind picks up. I appreciate the super chats over on YouTube, guys. I really do appreciate the support. No way it's that massive, right? It is. Again, the actual size of the storm isn't that impressive. It's the intensity of the storm that's impressive. It looks like our camera over at Flatbridge may have just gone out now as well. We're losing cameras, guys. Losing cameras and losing power. There's got to be. Much of the country has to be without power at least now, right? As of right now, what is the wind speed? Sustained winds at around 175 miles per hour and max gusts over 215 miles per hour. In knots, we're at around 160 knots sustained winds. Yeah. We don't get any in Australia where I am. Yeah, certain parts of Australia get tropical cyclones, certain don't. Stronger storms are usually more intense, correct. The more compact they are, the easier it is for them to maintain their strength and to continue to strengthen. Let me get another update on this Hurricane Hunter flight, hurricane reconnaissance flight that is flying into the storm to give us the latest information. He's definitely getting there. He is getting there. Let's see. I want to make sure I'm on the latest mission. Mission 23, mission 24. Come on, get into the storm, get into the storm. We really want to see that. What part of Jamaica will be hit the worst? Central to western Jamaica for sure. It's looking like Spanish Town and out east may avoid the worst of the system. But again, these storms wobble. You really never know. It could wobble before it moves inland, and things could rapidly go downhill for eastern Jamaica as well. So everyone just needs to be prepared. Sorry, let me get this. There we go. Mods, I appreciate you guys who are in here early. Some of my mod team got up very early in the morning. I've been on since about 4:30. I will be live streaming for at least another hour, maybe a little bit more. I got to go to work today. I wanted to take off, but my goal is to do this full time so I don't have to have 2 jobs. But, got to build my channels up a little bit more before I'm able to quit my job and do this full time. Let's see here. Appreciate the follows, guys. Appreciate the support. And what is this? This is Category 5 hurricane about to make landfall in Jamaica. The northeast quadrant is the worst. Yeah. They call it the northeast quadrant or the front right quadrant. Sometimes a lot of people refer to it as the front right quadrant. In the northern hemisphere, you have 4 quadrants. Well, all cyclones have 4 quadrants, but in the northern hemisphere, this quadrant right here is the most violent, typically. Strongest winds. It's also the most dangerous because this is where the storm surge is the highest because you have the wind and the water moving in onshore because of the, obviously, counterclockwise rotation of the system. So yes, this quadrant is the most dangerous, which is unfortunately where a lot of people in Jamaica are going to be. Not that if you're in this quadrant or this quadrant or this quadrant, it's not bad. It's bad, but the most violent portion of the storm typically is the front right quadrant, just because of the counterclockwise circulation, the higher the higher storm surge that you get over here, and it just tends to be the healthiest. Because weather in the northern hemisphere moves from west to east. So a lot of times you have shear that can affect the western side a lot more than the eastern side. So typically just the eastern side in general is stronger, but especially the northeastern side. It hasn't arrived yet. Nope, but the outer eye wall is getting very close, like I said, to Black River. Also where most waterfalls and tornadoes happen, correct? Can you call in sick? Yeah, I wish. I got a lot of work to do. I will be back on. I live stream almost every day. I post updates every single day on all social medias. X, Instagram, everything. It's all Connor's Climate Corner. But I will be back on live tonight. And I'll probably be waking up early in the morning tomorrow morning as well. Maybe another 4 or 5 a.m. morning because I want to cover this as it moves into Cuba and then eventually the Bahamas. So, yeah, I'm not going to be getting a lot of sleep this week. Show the lightning strike? Sure, we can go take a look at that over on satellite. You see the lightning as it approaches here. There's a little bit of lag on the lightning strikes here, but you'll see a burst of lightning strikes in the eye. Lightning typically means also if you have a lot of lightning in and around the eye, a lot of times that means the storm is strengthening as well. Most of the time. Why? Because lightning is caused by, obviously, the interaction of positive and negative, the friction that's being caused up there. Now, a lot of this is going to be surface to sky lightning. A lot of it's going to be, some of it's going to be sky to sky lightning. But when you have moisture rapidly rising and condensing, again, releasing heat, that's going to cause friction up there in the atmosphere, and that's where your lightning is going to be is going to be stemmed from. So the more heat you have up there, the more lightning potential you have. So lots of heat being poured up into the eye wall. So that's where you have all those lightning strikes right around the core. Landfall is hour and a half, 2 hours out. But the eye wall is only less than an hour away from making landfall or moving into shore, which is the worst part of the storm. Wow, it's definitely different over here on YouTube. Just on this. Pam with the $10 super chat. I appreciate you, Pam. Thank you so much. Seriously. Vogel, I went to school at Florida State University for meteorology for 3 years. I ended up leaving due to personal issues. I've studied meteorology for 10 years. My uncle's actually a meteorologist up in New York. So, plan on actually finishing my degree. I just have 2 kids and 2 jobs. So, I'd have to go to school for about another year to just to get the piece of paper. A lot of money. It's a little time consuming, but it's something that I'd want to finish. Florida State actually has a fantastic meteorology program as well. I actually really enjoyed my time at Florida State. Tropical Tidbits, one of the greatest, well, I think it's the greatest website for tropical cyclones and hurricane research and stuff like that. or updates. That was actually created by a meteorology major at Florida State University. Yeah, for those of you on TikTok, if it's frozen, if it's freezing the screen, it's a TikTok issue. Their servers are having issues. I'm over on YouTube as well, Connor's Climate Corner. Same thing, same name on YouTube. TikTok's been having all sorts of struggles today. Catherine, I appreciate that. Yeah. FSU's meteorology program is great. I was really lucky to be able to go there. Which national? I studied tornadoes. Yeah. Which natural disaster would you rather be in? A hurricane than a tornado. Yeah. But it depends. Hurricanes do much more widespread damage. Tornadoes do much more concentrated damage. So you're much less likely to be in a tornado than a hurricane. But a hurricane like this has sustained winds equivalent to like an EF4 plus tornado. So I mean, in this scenario, this is like the eye wall of this is like a large tornado. Which is crazy to say. Look at these cloud tops here. Oh my gosh. How far is our hurricane reconnaissance flight out here? Come on. Get in there. Let's see here. I'm just trying to see how far this flight is from getting into the storm. Okay. We need your coverage as it hits. So, yeah, listen, one of my good friends, Mesomat, MESOMATT, is going to be covering this entire system as it moves onshore. I do lots of coverage with him. He's great. He also has a mod team that is on and answers everyone's questions in chat if you can't get to him. So Mesomat, MESOMATT. I'll probably shoot you guys over towards him as this thing moves inland when I have to get off in about an hour. And I'll be back on later. Obviously, I would love to just stream this all day and keep everyone updated. I just don't have that option, but I'll be on for definitely at least another hour. This is bad, right? Yeah, it's not a great situation. What does the black represent? Extremely high cloud tops, extremely violent conditions. That's stronger than Andrew. It is stronger than Andrew. Also, CSU has a great school. Yes, Colorado State University has a fantastic meteorological program. They focus more on severe weather, tornadoes, and stuff like that. But they do everything. They do everything. Climatology, tropics, all that stuff. Yeah. I don't know if they focus more on severe weather and tornadoes, but I think that's, from what I've seen, they're definitely their strong suit there. What time did they say it would hit Jamaica? It's changed a bunch. Originally, it was like early, 3, 4 a.m. Then they changed it to 12 or 1. To me, it looks like this thing is making landfall in a couple hours. It is Cat 5 still. Compared to Milton, Milton had a slightly lower central pressure, but Milton did not make landfall with this low of a central pressure. This will be making landfall stronger than Milton did. Where's it going to hit after Jamaica? Eastern Cuba. We're looking at potentially around... I know west of Guantanamo. Palma Soriano. I don't know how to pronounce it. Palma Soriano. I'm trying to pronounce some of these names here. It's Eastern Cuba. Here you guys go if you can't see it. Here's Eastern Cuba. Let me outline it so it's a little more obvious. So moving over kind of that panhandle in Eastern Cuba after this. Potentially as a Cat 4, Cat 5 hurricane. We'll have to see how much it weakens as it moves over Jamaica. Land and elevation interaction will weaken the storm a tiny bit. Is it worse than Katrina? It's stronger than Katrina. But the issue with Katrina was the storm surge was catastrophic and historic. So will we see the amount of loss of life that we saw with Katrina due to flooding? I don't know, because Katrina's water is the most deadly force on the planet. And although this could drop up to 30 to 40 inches of rainfall in some areas, so it could end up being worse than Katrina. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Katrina's biggest issue was the storm surge. Max storm surge here, 9 to 13 feet probably. Katrina, we saw over 20 feet of storm surge. Stream is frozen. Yep, that's a TikTok issue. You can join me on YouTube, Connor's Climate Corner, same exact name on YouTube. TikTok servers are having issues, guys. If you join me on YouTube, there's no lagging or issues on YouTube. I apologize for the TikTok issues. You were in Montego Bay a week ago. Well, I'm glad you got out of there. Let me get up and stretch for a second, guys. I've been sitting down for a few hours. Do a quick stretch. My body's hurting. Ugh. Oh my gosh, I just bent over and I felt every bone in my body crack. I'm getting old. I might need a new chair. Might need to get myself a gaming chair for weather streaming. So my body stops hurting so much. All right. All right. I'm still sitting on TikTok because it's so far behind. Ay, ay, ay. Jamaica has some high mountains, so it could be more like a Helene problem in North Carolina. Yep. Flash flooding, mudslides is going to be an issue. Why was Katrina's storm surge so much bigger? Because Katrina was about this big. This storm is about this big. The size of the storm. Size matters for hurricanes. Okay? I know there's going to be jokes, but it does. Larger the storm, typically the more water it can move. Yeah. I think, Pam, let me see here. There you go, Pam. Now you should be able to. Let's see here. Why does the UK not get hurricanes or serious weather issues? Very easy to explain. We'll explain it. Here we go. The UK. Our waters rotate like this. We have the warmest water on the planet here. Warm water is what causes severe weather, evaporation, condensation, heat release. Our waters go like this. They go up the coast, and then they come down this way. Now, if you look at that circulation, where's the water from? What's bringing the water up to UK? Well, it circulates, it cools down, and then it comes down the coast. You have much cooler water off the coast of the UK. And cooler water leads to not as severe severe weather, not as frequent bad weather. For hurricane to even form, you need at a minimum 74 to 75 degree waters. Typically, you're not seeing a tropical cyclone form unless you get to 80 degree waters. Your waters are typically not 80 degrees off the coast here. So the odds you get a hurricane are very little. Sometimes they shoot off and they can try to make an impact before they weaken enough. But yeah. Also, cooler waters, you tend to have a more neutral weather pattern again because the warm water and the evaporation is what causes, a lot of convection and a lot of these massive ridges and troughs, and all of these crazy weather patterns has to do with the heat of the ocean. You just don't have that hot of waters up there. Water temperatures really control everything on the planet. UK does get storms, but about 75% of all tornadoes on planet Earth happen in the United States. Okay. You look at the size, this is pretty big. About 75% of all, and I would say about 90% of all violent tornadoes happen in the United States. Why? We have one of the warmest bodies of water on planet Earth here, down to our south, the largest ocean off to our west, and then some of the warmest ocean waters off to our east here, the Gulf Stream, and then we have the coldest area on the planet, the Arctic. The Arctic is colder than the Antarctic because of the geography in the northern hemisphere. So coldest region on the planet, warmest waters in the planet, biggest ocean. The geography, the way the oceans are set up, the United States of America experiences more severe weather and more violent severe weather than anywhere on the planet, and they typically do have the vast majority of tornadoes. And now tropical cyclones are pretty big over in Asia because you have the warm Pacific here, and this is also rotating clockwise, so you get warm water up the coast of China. Now, they don't see as many tornadoes, and that's because you don't have big storm systems moving off the Pacific here. You have land off to your west here, not in an ocean. So the United States is geographically located in the sketchiest part of the planet when it comes to weather. But for someone like me who loves meteorology, I'm glad I don't live in the UK. I'm glad I live in America. Had to come here because TikTok sucks balls. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys, for the issues that TikTok's experiencing right now. There's just not much I can do on that end. I know there's some issues over there, but I appreciate you guys being over here. We are back. Okay. The UK has a lot of tornadoes. They just don't touch down. Again, the violence of those tornadoes typically aren't as. Oh wait, did we get an update here? I mean, they moved where the eye is, but we didn't get an update. Let me see where this latest Hurricane Hunter flight is at. Okay, it's getting a little bit closer to the center now. What are we at? 76 degrees west. All right, 76 degrees west now. Getting closer. Getting much closer. This eye wall is getting very... Alligator Pond, I hope it's not underwater, but we're seeing massive storm surge out there, very likely. Let's see if we have any updates here. Let's see if we can get any updated cams. Give me a second, guys. I'm going to see if we can get any updated cameras that are still working in Jamaica. Some cams down, you can see that flat bridge is just a raging river at this point. You got some wind damage down there. And what is that? West Parade? Little London, some wind damage. Large waves in Kingston Harbor. This is just the beginning here, though. We'll see this kind of go downhill as this thing moves on shore. Let me real quickly take a look at X to see if we've got any sort of interesting updates here. I know we do have another flight moving into the eye of Hurricane Melissa here. We're going to actually be able to, because of the timing of this reconnaissance flight, we'll be able to see the exact strength at landfall, very likely. For those who missed it, this is what the eye of the hurricane looks like right now. Extremely impressive. Extremely impressive. Unfortunately, extremely impressive. Melissa crushes eye dryness record. This is one of the reasons it's not weakening. Max velocity posted this. Negative 2.67 degrees Celsius. Look at the other records. It didn't just beat the record, it absolutely crushed it. The driest eye in history, I think, in the Atlantic or Pacific. It is beautiful, exactly, Ilarius, but it's just scary. Driest eye in history. Good post there by Max. Give that a repost. Look at this. Incredible images from inside the eye of Melissa. This is not AI, even though it looks like it. We were just in White House, and my heart hurts for all the locals. Yeah, White House, it could be pretty bad there. Just got to pray for them. At this point, there's really not much anyone can do, but just wait it out. What is the dry eye? The drier the eye, the more intense the storm, typically. Once you start getting moisture into the eye, you can go into an eye replacement cycle. It can begin to wobble, destabilize. A dry eye means you have a very tight and powerful circulation. And this is the driest eye on record. Are we getting a little bit of a wobble in the eye? Could we go through an eye replacement right before this thing moves into land? The issue I'm having is the eye is expanding a little bit. The eye is expanding a little bit, and I don't like that because that's going to push our max sustained winds out a little bit farther. So if we look at the frames here, you can see the eye. You can see the eye here. And then as we move forward in time, you see the difference in the eye size here? About 1.5 times bigger. Which means that our eye wall is expanding, which means the max sustained winds are actually expanding out into the east, into the west. Hopefully this trend doesn't continue. Going right up here through Jamaica for the person who asked. The isosymmetrical, there's no way it replaces before landfall. I don't think it's not going to replace before landfall. No, it could start the eye replacement cycle, though. Yeah, it's not going to replace before landfall. It's out of time. Do I think this will grow stronger than Typhoon Nancy? How strong did Typhoon Nancy get? Sustained 215. No. But the issue is with this storm is it's making landfall at its peak strength. I don't believe Nancy made landfall at its peak strength. Typhoon Nancy landfall. What did it even? Yeah, see, Typhoon Nancy only made landfall as a category 2. So what's worse about this? This is a more dangerous storm than Nancy because it's making landfall at its peak strength, whereas Nancy weakened before it moved into land. What's the black stuff on the right side that separate it? You're just extremely high cloud tops funneling off. Some of this moisture escapes, and you get that heat raising. This is not as dangerous as what's right around the core of the storm, but it's still pretty bad weather out there to the east. Imagine boiling water making steam. Exactly. Is this worse than Katrina? It's a stronger storm than Katrina. But the issue, like I said, with Katrina was the size of Katrina caused historical storm surge. The issue, 90% of all of the damage and loss of life with Katrina had to do with storm surge. This isn't going to have as violent a storm surge as Katrina, but the wind speeds are much higher. We could have 30 to 40 inches of rain, though, which would rival Katrina as well. This is a very bad storm, yes. Leanne's, yeah. Eye replacement, Cantori. Eye replacement is when the storm forms a second larger one and the inner eye collapses. Yep, the inner eye typically you see an eye replacement starting. You can see it very easily on radar, but our radars are down. Typically with an eye replacement, you'll see like the eye wall, and then you'll see another eye wall outside of it. That means the inner one's going to collapse. The storm's going to wobble, weaken, and then re-strengthen and be a broader storm. Yeah. That would actually be, we're out of time, but that would have been worst case scenario, in my opinion. It would have made landfall a tiny bit weaker, but you would have had the wind field much wider. It's not a great situation regardless. I spelled my name wrong. I don't know about that. OR is the Irish way to spell it. Is it not? I volunteer in the RFS and have helped people prepare and evacuate cyclones before. It's so scary seeing this. How do people prepare for this or evacuate when Jamaica has such a small landmass? A lot of people can't afford to evacuate, and what do you do to prepare? There's no preparing for this, really. I mean, you get away from the low-lying areas, you get away from low-lying streams, rivers, canals, but you also don't want to be on top of a mountain where your wind speeds are 20 to 30% stronger due to elevation. You want to be somewhere away from the lowest lying area, but you don't want to be up too high, and then you just need to buckle down in a concrete structure, get away from wood, and you know, you need to be in a concrete structure. There's not much you can do, guys, when a Category 5 hurricane goes right over your head. Is landfall is when the complete no landfall is technically when any part of this eye, say right here, this clear area, the center of the storm, if there's no eye, it's just the center of the storm, they guess. As soon as this part touches land here, that's landfall. As soon as the outer part of the eye touches. I mean, concrete buildings, you're not going to have a tornado struggle to break down concrete buildings. You can still have them ripped out, I guess, of the foundation sometimes, but you don't want to be in a wooden plank structure. A tilt up, plywood structure. Has anywhere in Jamaica had wind gusts over 100 miles per hour? If they haven't, they will soon. I think down here we could see Gus Black River down to Alligator Pond picking up to that speed soon. Landfall is going to be, I'm going to say it's probably going to be before 9 a.m. or right around 9 a.m. It's going to be close there. Hard to tell right now. It's definitely sped up, so. Yeah, I've been streaming for about almost 3 hours. I got another probably 30, 40 minutes. I do have to get ready for work today, unfortunately. But Mesomat, MESOMATT, should be live streaming. And whenever I get off, I'll send you guys over there. But I'm going to continue to cover this for a little bit. Let me give him a call and see if he's on. Let's see here. He's on? Okay, cool. We'll see if he answers, I guess. He's on live. All right. Is it possible for the storm to shift more east before landfall? It is. We got to watch this. Could do a little wobble to the east. Could do a little wobble to the east. How long will it last over land? It's really slow. It'll take a few hours to get over land. Maybe 4 or 5 hours total. Center of the eye must cross land to determine landfall location. I don't believe so. I believe it's where the outer eye comes into contact. Well, for landfall location maybe, but not technical landfall. I can confirm that. Yeah, so the center of the storm's eye crosses the coastline. That's where they're going to label landfall. But you'll count landfall as soon as the outer eye gets onto shore. Now, when you go back and you look at historical records, where they label actual landfall is going to be where the center of the eye passes over. But they will call landfall before the center of the eye is over shore. It's a good call on that, though. Earlier, I said it'll weaken to a Cat 4 after it passes. Do you think it will gain more strength as it moves north into warmer water? No, as this storm picks up in speed, which it's expected to really pick up in speed here over the next 5 to 6 hours, it's going to be harder for it to keep its tight circulation. So that pickup in speed will start to weaken it. We're also starting to see more wind shear out here to the west and to the north. Wind shear, a pickup in speed are going to weaken it a little bit. I hope it gets down to a Cat 4, Cat 3 as it approaches Cuba. There's a small chance I think it remains it holds its Cat 5 strength, although I think the elevation and land interaction with Jamaica will weaken it quite significantly, at least. Maybe down, maybe 30, 40 mile per hour winds. I mean, the winds will drop at least 30 to 40 miles per hour at a minimum after it crosses Jamaica. Yeah, sheer land interaction. That's going to weaken this thing. You don't think it'll stay on land longer than that? I figured like 10 hours. No. But it's currently increasing in speed. It's going to continue to increase in speed, so it won't be over land for 10 hours. 4 or 5 hours maximum, I think. Maybe even shorter. But it could be a little more than 5, but I think a little shorter. Yeah, landfall Jamaica 1 to 2 hours. Yep. Potentially closer to 1 at this. You can see it picking up speed. Really, really moving now. Let me see. Radar Omega, they've increased the speed to 7. It went from 3 miles per hour to 5 miles per hour to 7. And then as it gets up a little bit farther, we're probably going to see it move up to 10 to 15 miles per hour as it continues to move off to the north. Let's see if we can get an update on a hurricane reconnaissance flight that is flying into the storm. It's getting pretty close now. We're at about 77 degrees west. I'm hoping I can get a reading of this before I have to get off. But I still have a good amount of time that I can be on covering this for you guys. Give me 1 second. I need to open my window. It's getting a little steamy in here. It's getting a little hot. I'm in Minnesota, so I open my window and the temperature will drop very quickly in here. Luckily for me. Oh, it's raining outside. I had no idea. Too focused on the hurricane. Oh yeah, I'm already cold. All right. I appreciate the follows, guys. I appreciate the support. Like I said, I live stream 5 or 6 days a week, and I post every single day. Every single day on Instagram. Twitter /X, YouTube, and TikTok. $20 goes at 9:01. Yeah, it could be below 9:01. I don't know. It's having a little land interaction. Could be right at that. But we have a hurricane reconnaissance flight getting pretty close to the center. How's TikTok doing? Has the stream stabilized over there? What footage live stream is everyone gonna watch? Let me take a look at some of this live stream footage again. The sun is up in Jamaica. So we've got some better images. There's this flooding you see here, this river you see here is a road. That's a road right there going across. Flat bridge. Waters are rough. It's probably pretty high. The tide's probably pretty high right there. A lot of the good cameras, honestly, are just down because, you know, the winds. Some of these areas still look pretty calm. Storm's still moving inland, so we're not seeing anyone quite yet in the eye wall. No videos quite yet of anyone in the eye wall. Let's see. Let's go back to the voice. I really want to see what this latest hurricane reconnaissance flight is picking up. They're moving. They're getting out there. Let's see. Okay, yeah, they're definitely getting closer to the center of the storm. They're in under 1,000 millibars of pressure now. Wind speed's picking up. What are their wind speeds at now? I'm getting a little higher. We're getting very close to this eye wall moving in. Let's take a look at the latest here. Hey, Matt. Yeah, in about 30, 40 minutes, I'm going to send my stream over to you. I've got about 1,500 now on TikTok, and then about 300, 260 over on YouTube. Yeah, I'll be back on streaming later. I've been on for a little over 4 hours now. Around 4 hours, I think. Yeah, about 4 hours. Yeah, you've been cranking out. Yeah, I didn't get up and get on till 6. I slept a little bit later because I had a headache this morning. Maybe 3 hours. Yeah, no, you're all good. But yeah, I'll send. I'll let people know that you're on. You'll be on for how long? You'll be covering this as it moves across all day. MESOMATT, guys. When I get off, we'll link him. We'll pin his stream. Matt's great, and he has a big mod team that's gonna be able to answer all your questions there as well. All right, Matt. I'll talk to you a little bit later. See you. That's what's great about his stream too, guys. And I'm growing my mod team, but and I do have mods in here right now that are helping, which is awesome. But he's got about 30, 40 people in there. He is able to do this full-time right now. Unfortunately, I need to grow my channels a tiny bit more to do it full-time, but that's the plan moving forward. My sister's there on vacation. They have them all boarded up in an auditorium. Well, good. Well, not that she's there, but that they're in that auditorium boarded up. Thanks, Rebel. What's going on, Purple? I can't believe people are still walking around the streets. I know. Let me see if let me take a look at the visible radar right now in here. Jeez. Look at this eye, guys. Look at this as the sun comes up. Oh my gosh. It looks, guys, this looks like AI. It's not AI. I appreciate the subs, guys. Really, really, really do appreciate the subs and the follows. Look as the sun comes up. Oh my gosh. Let's zoom in on this as the sun comes up. Wow. I have the lightning showing on there. Keep that satellite off to the side. 12 miles wide. The eye may be a little bit wider than 12 miles now, but we can measure it. We've got the tools. We've got the tools. The eye's about, well, actually, we can take the radius from that. That's fine. Yeah, about 12 miles wide. About 12 miles wide. Pretty tight eye. Classic. We were looking it up earlier. I mean, just to confirm, the average eye size is about 15 to 20 miles. So this is a little bit smaller of an eye, but that's also why it's keeping its intensity currently. Oh my gosh. Let me turn off the lightning on this. Wow. Let's take a look at the last few frames on here. The eye has expanded a little bit in size, not much though. The eye wall is extremely, I mean, the strongest winds are probably right through here. The eye wall is extremely close to moving inland right now. Here's the coast of Jamaica. Let me take a look at some of these other, we've got our red band. There you go. You can see as the light moves in here, we've got our water vapor. Very dry eye, obviously. Clean infrared, dry long wave. Incredible. See if we can push it back 50 frames. You guys want to see? Well, here, you guys want to see what this looks like moving over the last 100 frames. This could be actually an interesting little loop. Here's what it's done overnight. Storms just do not maintain this strength for this long. Look at this. This is when it stalled out and then said, "All right, we're moving back up to the east." Let's get back down here into about 15 frames. We'll play that. Okay. So is the eye actually spinning that fast, or is the outside? So yeah, is it actually spinning that fast at its max speed, or is that outside the eye wall? No, so the clouds aren't spinning that fast. There's winds that are moving that fast. The wind speed is not correlated with how fast the clouds are rotating around the eye. But if the quicker the storm is rotating, the quicker the clouds typically are rotating around the eye, that can actually enhance the wind speeds. The same thing if you have 60, 70 mile per hour wind gusts recorded along a cold frontal boundary in the U.S. If that front's moving very quickly, the actual speed of that front can actually enhance the wind speeds. No problem, Punchy. Is there a plane flying into it right now? There is. So we'll probably get a recording of the strength of the storm as it makes landfall, which is going to be very interesting. The plane's getting pretty close. It's now seeing hurricane. It's now close enough to the storm where it's picking up hurricane force winds. It's not quite in the eye wall yet. I would say 30 minutes or less. We're gonna see it in the eye wall. It's now recording a pressure down of 998, so it's getting very, very close to getting into that main. I would say 20 to 30 minutes. You can see here from where it took off. We're at and you can see as it gets into the red, that little triangle there is 50, and then you got a 10 here, about 60 knot winds. So you can see the winds are steadily increasing. He's getting much closer to the center of the storm. Here's a look here. You can see the outer eye wall is probably right up there. So still has a little bit to fly. And then we'll get the good readings there. Unmanned plane. No, they're manned. They try to fly high enough to where they're don't have too much interference from the storm. Although they've already had 2 hurricane reconnaissance flights, hurricane reconnaissance missions called off, which is rare because they've been experiencing severe turbulence from violent up and down drafts a lot higher up into the atmosphere than expected. Yep. As Leanne said, the strongest winds are in the eye wall. The actual eye is the calmest. Yeah. Where does this fall in terms of strongest storms, hurricanes? In terms of the lowest pressure, which is typically hand in hand with strongest storms, I think it's number 6 or number 7 in the Atlantic Basin in recorded history. So easily top 10 at 6 or 7. This is going to go down as the 2nd or 3rd strongest storm at landfall. Hurricane Wilma was at 892 millibars as it made landfall in the Yucatan Peninsula. There might have been one stronger. This might go down at, if it does make landfall at this 901 millibars or lower, this may go down as the 2nd strongest hurricane in history to make landfall, or at the point of landfall in the Atlantic Basin. It does have the driest eye in recorded history. It smashed that record, meaning there's no moisture in the eye. It's an extremely clean, powerful perpendicular eye here. So it's broken some records, and it's potentially could break even more. What plane do they use? I actually don't know the exact plane, but probably a pretty sturdy plane, I would have to assume, flying into a hurricane. Let's see. What? It's a good question. What plane do hurricane? We'll just call them hurricane hunters use. Air Force Reserve's Lockheed WC-130J Hercules and the NOAA NOAA National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration P-3 Orion and Gulfstream GIVSP. If any of you know what those are, I'm not great. I'm not really in the aviation field, but maybe some of you know what that is. Big Bird. Yeah, some of you probably know exactly what I was talking about. Is a storm enough to cause storms rainfall up in the States from where it is? Not likely. Not likely. This is a Category 5. This is Category 5 hurricane, Ann. Yeah, the storm's angry. Yeah. C-130J. Yep. Is there a best guess as to where this storm will make landfall in Cuba? The best guess would be following the National Hurricane Center's track. As this storm picks up speed, it's not going to wobble and go outside of the cone as easily. So you would assume that it's going to make landfall down here somewhere around La Granjita. I'm probably saying that wrong, but somewhere down in Palma Soriano, Cuba, in this region out to the west of Guantanamo. So eastern Cuba there. Hello from rainy Holland. What's going on? My prayers with Jamaica. Same. What makes the eye of a hurricane so significant? So the eye of the hurricane is the low pressure, and then everything else on top is the high pressure. The eye is what is... The lower the pressure gets, the faster the warm waters evaporate. And the faster that moisture is evaporated up, that's where it's evaporated up into the center, not on the outsides, into the center. The higher the cloud tops get near the center, and the more heat that's released near the center. Heat, high cloud tops is directly correlated with strong, violent winds. So the closer you get to the center of this violently low pressure, the more significant the wind speeds and the more violent the storm is going to be. As you get out, you get more into a high pressure, and the wind speeds decrease. So this is just, this is where the eye of the hurricane is the engine of the hurricane, right? If you were to, look in the hood of my car where the engine is, this is the engine. This is the engine. The rest of this is not the engine. The rest of this is courtesy of the eye, pulling violent, or pulling that moisture up and then releasing heat and expanding it outwards. This is all courtesy of all this stuff on the outside is courtesy of the eye. Well, let's hit Holguin, Cuba. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but let me see where that is. Potentially, we could see the eye wall move over Hulk, however you pronounce that. We could see it. We could see it moving over that region. So I would pay close attention. How much time will the storm spend over the island of Jamaica? Yeah, I want to say like 4 hours, but it could be, I guess, like 6 hours or less. 4 to 5 hours. It's tough to tell. If I had to guess, I'd say like 5 hours if I had to guess. But I could be wrong. It could be more. I'd say that's the thing. It's picking up in speed. It went from 3 miles per hour to 5 miles per hour from an update to 7 miles per hour. How much does that speed continue to increase? Does it stay around 7 to 8, or does it move all the way up to 10, 11, 12? That's going to determine, but my best guess is around 5 hours right now, give or take an hour. Who do you recommend watching for hurricane information on TikTok when you go to work? Mesomatt's going to be online. He's great with this stuff. I've worked with him. MESOMATT. Mods, do you want to link his name? Once I get off in about 20, 30 minutes, he's online streaming right now, and he has like 30 mods in there answering questions that he can't get to. And he's going to be streaming all day. He's very, very good at what he does. So you should have, of course, people on like Ryan Hall, y'all. You should have Max Velocity on, all those big streamers. But yeah, Mesomatt. What's good about Mesomatt is since he's not a smaller streamer, I consider myself a small streamer as well. I think we're able to give a little bit more attention to the stream and answer a little bit more questions because I'm not going to have 40,000, 50,000 people in my stream. I'll have a couple thousand sometimes. He's on TikTok, YouTube. He's dual streaming. Yep. Yep. How many miles away from land is it? The eye is probably about 30, 35 miles away from land. The eye wall is about 15 miles away from land. Give or take. Appreciate the follows, guys. Let me see where our hurricane reconnaissance flight is at. Still waiting on the latest update there. All right, give me 2 seconds here, guys. Give me 1 second, 1 second. Sorry, let me get back. Actually, that one's sitting still. You can't see anything. Here, let's get back here. Let me pull up my Discord really quick. I actually need to do some updates on that. Well, I'll do that right after I get off here. How long till the eye hits Jamaica's? Yeah, I'd say an hour, hour and a half. Yep. Can we have a look at the cams again? Yeah, we can. We can. Here's the daylight coming over our satellite imagery here, guys. Let's take a look at some updated live cams. We've got obviously Flatbridge underwater, some high surf out there near Kingston. Some of these areas, it's not too violent because they're not in the eye wall. I would say the areas where you're gonna see the violent wind right now, the cameras aren't probably working. Black River out to Alligator Pond, as these wind speeds increase. I don't know if we're gonna get a clear video out of there. Let me see if we can get any. Let me see if we can get any clear cams of some of the wind speeds picking up here. Excuse me. Overall, still pretty calm. I mean, you've obviously got that very bad flooding near Flatbridge, but overall, still pretty calm. Again, we don't expect that to last much longer. You can see the eye wall is making an approach to land here, and as you get into the eye wall, things deteriorate pretty quickly. It depends where you are, though. I mean, if you're out here a little bit to the east, if you're far west, it may not get too dangerous. This whole area in between is obviously extremely concerning. Where is... Come on, reconnaissance flight. Get into the eye. Okay, it's about to pass into the eye. God, I have to stay on until this thing's in the eye. Really close to getting into the eye now. We now have wind speeds of, let's see, 60, 50, 60, 65, about 70 knots. So it's getting much closer to the eye. Let's take a look here. Appreciate the subs, appreciate the follows, appreciate the support, guys. There, for those who are wondering, let me make this smaller here. Sorry. Let me make my sub donation here. Let's make that smaller there so it's not in the way. And okay, so here we go. Our latest reconnaissance flight is very close to getting into this eye wall. You can see here we've got 50, 60, 65 knot winds, so we're clearly 80, 90 mile per hour winds. It's not into, this is the eye wall here. Once it gets in there, we're going to see some crazy things, but it's very close. So this is what we're waiting on. This is going to be, this is going to tell us how strong the storm is going to be at landfall. You can actually see them making the approach towards the eye wall. Notice what happens as it gets closer and closer. It's diving. That pressure is diving down. They've now gotten the pressure down towards 990. And as the pressure dives down, the wind speed increases. Notice, pressure is the red. Pressure is the red. As it dives down, the wind speeds increase. So they're directly correlated there. You can also see the wind speed and rain rate increasing as it gets closer to the center of the system. Here we go, as it gets closer to the center of the system right there, increasing. So definitely staying on to see this. This is going to be some kind of breaking information. information. We're gonna see exactly how because this is the last reading before this makes landfall. Let's see if I can get another good live feed up here. Give me a second, guys. Let me get the bridge. 1 second. I want to get a nice feed in the bottom corner there so we can see what's going on. Okay. Do have some people down there. This is actually a pretty good camera here. Got Fox Weather on there. 1 second, guys. Let's see. It's actually a pretty good cam here. Maybe I'll use this one. Where is this guy? Mandeville. Okay, so he is... This camera that you're looking at on the left there is actually right here. Yeah. Oh, man, this is going to be a crazy cam soon. This is going to be a crazy cam soon. All right. I don't want to pause that. Let's get this live. There we go. Okay. We're going to have our new reading here soon. It's going to be extremely important. Sorry, I'll get back to answer some questions. Yeah, Yali, I appreciate you. Got to keep it serious this stream. Yeah, I've been streaming. I thought I was streaming 4 hours. I've been streaming about 3.5. So, be on a little bit longer. We definitely need to get these updates in. This latest update is going to be important. Looks like the cam is in a car. Yep, this cam is in a car. This is Mandeville, Jamaica. So we're going to see this camera get pretty crazy a little bit later on. I think this is definitely one that I'll tell Matt to pull up when you guys hop over there. What are the triangles and probes they sent out? Wait, what? Oh, the triangles and those are just showing wind speeds. Yeah, wind speed and direction. That car gonna fly off. Aye. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you, Mel. Plane there yet? Plane is 5 to 10 minutes away from giving us the reading we need. Maybe 5 minutes. What's worse, tornado winds or hurricane winds? Well, the strongest winds in the eye wall here are almost equivalent to an EF5 tornado, at least wind gust wise. But tornado winds are more focused. But so tornado winds are typically worse, but obviously they're not as expansive as a hurricane. They're over a smaller area. It looks like he's in the car with the camera there. Yeah. Let me see if there's anything closer down to the coast right now, because that's where the eye wall is moving into. I just found myself on here. Let's see. All right, so this one is going through different ones. One second, guys. I'm trying to see if I can find you guys another really good angle. Lots of people recording what's going on live here. Still waiting on a lot of some cams closer to the eye wall, although I don't know. I don't really want anyone that close to the eye wall. All right, let's see here. Most of these are pretty far away from the eye wall. Ah, this thing is super close to landfall. This is a very dangerous situation, correct. After it goes through, Jamaica will hit other land. Yes, it's going to make landfall in Cuba. After potentially in the Palma Soriano region. But we got to wait a little bit for that. Could still be a strong Cat 4 when it makes landfall there. No, Florida's safe. Florida's safe. Saw a couple people live in Jamaica. The winds are picking up. Yep, they're picking up. Yep. All right, let's see. Let's see. Do we have our plane in the storm? In the eye wall yet? Let's see. Very close. Very, very close. We'll get that update in a second. Wonder if this thing's picked up speed. Still have it moving north-northeast at 7 miles per hour. How close? The eye is probably 30 miles offshore. The eye wall is probably 10 miles offshore. We'll get more power over that patch of sea between Jamaica and Cuba. I don't think it will. The waters are warm enough, but as it picks up speed, typically the storms broaden, which can weaken them, and then it's also going to be dealing with a little bit of that wind shear from the front to the north that's actually steering it. So I don't think it will rapidly de-intensify, but it'll probably lose a little bit of strength. That's why they're predicting Cat 4 over Cuba. Will this cause bad weather in the UK? It's going to move up there. It's going to send some tropical moisture off into the UK. So it potentially could end up bringing some bad weather up into the UK, yeah. That would be out towards November 3rd, likely. So we're still 6-7 days away from that. Of course, it had to be that time frame. Chat, don't do it. Chat, don't do it. Don't do it, chat. Don't start with it. Don't start with it. Okay, good. It's probably a delayed response, if I'm being honest. Here we go. Yes, the winds have picked up here. Okay, are you... Okay, Monique, well, I hope you're safe if you're down there in Jamaica. We'll just mute them. Short mute. Short mute. Let's get this going live. There we go. All right, Eyewall's about to move in to getting very close to Black River and potentially Alligator Pond. Come on, give me an update. Give me an update here. Give me an update. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Wind speeds. Oh my gosh. 50, 150, 160, 165 knots. Oh my gosh. Wind speed still at 165 knots. Wind speed still at 165 knots. The plane just flew through. This is breaking news. Let me make sure I do my conversion right. So 190 mile per hour winds right now being recorded in the eye. This is actually going to potentially drop below. This is going to go sub 9, I think, pressure. This is going to go sub 900 pressure, potentially. Here we go. If we zoom in here, let's actually go to a better one. Let's go here. Right here we've got, okay, little meteorology lesson. 50 knots, 100 knots, 150 knots, 160 knots, 165 knots. This right here is a reading of 190 mile per hour winds as the plane goes in. Oh, wait. 893. No way. This may be the strongest landfalling hurricane in Atlantic history if we get sub 892. This might be the strongest hurricane to ever make landfall. No way it's still intensifying. It's dealing with land interaction. The outer eye wall is dealing with elevation. You expect it to start weakening. No way. I gotta call Matt. There's no way. There's no way. Please answer your phone. If someone's in Matt's stream, let him know to answer. Meso Matt stream. MESOMATT. Let him know to answer my call. What? Oh my goodness.
Your call has been forwarded to.
Tell Meso Matt to call me. Absolutely not. $8.93.
Yeah, I know.
It's still
Even all the way to the center yet.
it's still intensifying, and you have the outer eye wall going over elevation and land.
Yeah, and then it's not even all the way through the center yet. It's still got a little bit of ways.
Dude, 165 knot winds, 190 mile per hour winds. This is going to be the strongest ever, potentially the strongest ever hurricane at landfall. I believe Wilma, when it hit the Yucatan Peninsula, was 892 at landfall.
Yeah, it was. Yep.
No, there's no category after
This
Cat
is
5,
gonna be-
Katie.
They'll do a special update before landfall, I would think, right?
No, bro, I can't believe this. Are you looking at Tropical Tidbits, those updates? They will. They'll do an update before landfall. Bro, I'm waiting for this next update on it. I cannot believe that. I thought for sure we'd maintain strength, if anything.
Right, that's what I was thinking too. And with the way that the cloud tops were looking too, it looked like it was at least just hanging around, not strengthening.
Holy crap. Okay, wait.
I wonder if we've been sub 900 for like 5 hours.
Let me FaceTime you. I want you to watch how cylindrical the entire storm gets the last couple frames here. Just watch it, and then watch right here. You see that at the end?
Yeah.
Incredible. Guys, I want you to see this chat. By the way, I'm going to send you all over to Mesomat here in about 10 minutes, but
Y'all go say hi to Connor. Go say hi to Connor. He's also live covering.
look at how cylindrical this gets right before landfall. This is insane. Okay, I'll call you back in a little bit.
Sounds good, bud.
See ya. Unbelievable. Let's continue to see if we get another. Let's go, Melissa. I can't believe that this is still strengthening. I mean, we have another flight going in too. They have another flight. We might get a reading literally as it's going over land. Holy crap. All right, let me get to the latest mission. Is it 23? It's 24. Okay, we're going to get another update here in a second. Holy crap. Or we might get sub 890. Sorry guys that I'm not showing it right now. I want to get the latest update here. 893. Let's see if we've got an update here. Let's continue to refresh this. If we go below 890, you can take a look at the record books. When's it hitting land? About an hour. It'll be on land, likely. Hour and a half maybe. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I don't mean to keep saying that, but I'm stunned. We still have this thing strengthening. Milton was nothing compared to this. Not at landfall, yeah. Yeah. I'm just waiting for one more update here. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. So, right now they have a reading of 893. Let me actually play this here so you guys can see this. There you go. So right now we have a reading of 893 millibars. I believe the strongest ever landfall, the lowest ever central pressure at landfall was Hurricane Wilma when it made landfall October, I want to say 20th, in the Yucatan Peninsula in 2005 with a central pressure of 892 millibars. This would, I believe, if it gets under 892, we're seeing it at around 893. This would be the strongest hurricane to ever make landfall in the Atlantic Basin, at least at the point of landfall. That's why I'm continuing to refresh this screen right here, because this is showing us the latest from the hurricane reconnaissance mission that is currently flying through the storm. We'll get another update here in a second, but this is historical. It's sad because we're gonna see devastation through parts of Jamaica, but and it's also a little bit confusing because again you're seeing land interaction here, you're seeing elevation interaction here with the outer eye wall. You would expect it to weaken, but as I said earlier, the thing that concerned me the most was the waters actually spike up in temperature right off the coast of Jamaica here. even farther out clearly. And as it gets into those warm waters, does that kind of out counterpunch the elevation and land interaction? And I think that's what's happening. It's ignoring the land, and it's juicing up on these extremely warm waters. It's a horrible situation, but this is historic. Let's see if we got another update here. I do have to get off in a little bit, but I'm going to finish covering this. And then I'll let you all head over to Matt's stream if you'd like. He's live streaming. He will be live streaming all day. He knows what he's talking about. He's got a ton of mods in there to answer all your questions. Yeah, pressure was 893. Yeah, pressure's going down continuously. Yep. Ian was stronger than this. Not at landfall. No. I don't even think it was stronger than this in general. Ian, Max. I don't know where that information's coming from. Yeah, no. Ian's peak intensity got up to 160 mile per hour winds. We're recording 190 mile per hour winds here. Ian was not stronger. Central pressure, I believe, in Ian was strong. Don't get me wrong. Ian lowest central pressure. Ian's lowest central pressure got down to 937 millibars. Nowhere close. This storm, nowhere close. This is over 40 to 50 millibars lower of pressure than Ian. It's actually not even close if you look at the central pressure. Not really that close if you look at the wind speeds either. We could have 30 mile per hour higher sustained winds here. I'm not trying to downplay Ian. Ian was a beast of a hurricane. It was a beast of a hurricane, but if you're actually talking about facts and intensity and data, this is a much stronger hurricane than Ian. Now, Ian had some issues, obviously, had some things that may have ended up being worse than this storm. Storm surge was obviously a huge issue with Ian. Speed of a hurricane, a lot of things can make certain storms worse or whatnot, but if we're talking about pure intensity, then no, this is much stronger. But again, I'm not trying to downplay what Ian did. Ian's one that's in the record books as well for Florida. Will we find out if the pressure dropped? We already found out. We've got a pressure reading of 893. I'm trying to see if it drops much further. And I'm waiting for, come on, give me one more update here. Give me one more update here. Okay, here we go. Here we go. 898. Oh, yeah. 894, 896, 893. Oh, yeah, the pressure. We're sub 900 all over. All over. We're sub 900 all over. Here's all the different pressures readings they're getting in the storm. 897, 893, 896. 897 there again. I think they're going to go with 893. Maybe 894 because it's 893.9. Some of these are hard to read. This is incredible. Looking at, yeah, max sustained wind speeds. Oh, are they getting 180 knots? Are they getting 180 knots? Man, I need a better. 1 second, guys. Is that an 180 knot reading? I need to confirm that. Looks like we're getting a reading of 180 knots. 210, about 210 mile per hour winds. Okay, let me text Matt. If anyone's in Matt's stream, let him know they got a reading of 180 knots, about 210 mile per hour winds. And this would be sustained at the surface, maybe around 200 sustained. 195 to 200 sustained. You could have wind gusts over 230 miles per hour. 240 miles per hour. Sorry, guys. TikTok's doing that. Yeah. All right, guys. I appreciate everyone being in here. Again, the eye is going to make landfall within the hour, within an hour, hour and a half. We're going to have a landfall. This is potentially going to go down as the first or second strongest storm at landfall in history in the Atlantic Basin. This is breaking all sorts of records. We potentially have a sub 900 pressure now at around 894 millibars. The wind speeds could potentially sustain to be up to 190 to 200. We could have max wind gusts over 230 to 240 miles per hour down at the surface. Very dangerous situation. Wind speeds, storm surge 9 to 13 feet, maybe 10 to 14 feet on the eastern edge of this system. If we were to zoom in here, we're talking just to the west of Alligator Pond here out towards Old Harbor, and we could see rainfall totals at a maximum of up to 40 inches in some areas. This is an extremely catastrophic, historic system. It's going to take probably, I would say, around 5 hours to get over land. Could be a little bit more, could be a little bit less. It's picking up speed. I'm not really sure. I'd say 5 hours, maybe a little bit more. Everyone needs to be bunkered down. Everyone needs to be away from low elevation. Water, obviously, is the most devastating force of Mother Nature. That's usually what takes the most life, so you do not want to be in any low-lying areas in Jamaica. I will be back on streaming later tonight, and we're going to watch as it moves into Cuba, potentially as a strong Cat 4 as well. I appreciate you all being in here. I appreciate the support, appreciate the subs, appreciate the follows, appreciate the gifts, appreciate you guys just being in here and engaging. Mods, you're awesome. Thanks for getting up early. Go check out Mesomat's stream. He is streaming this. He'll be streaming it all day. He has tons of people to answer your questions. And, there are some great streamers out there like Max Velocity, like Ryan Hall. You could definitely go and join them and some of the other big ones. Mesomat's stream can sometimes be a little bit more personal because he may have a little bit less viewers. When I say less, he's probably have a couple thousand. But his mods will be able to interact with everyone. Should be able to answer all of your questions. So MESOMATT. MESOMATT. By the way, I'm on all platforms. Connor's Climate Corner. On all platforms, Instagram, X/Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. I have a Discord, Connor's Climate Corner HQ. Just put HQ at the end of my name. Add me as a friend on Discord. I'll make you a part of the Climate Crew. I'll send you an invite to that server, and it has all of the updates daily and live. You guys are awesome. Everyone be safe. Go join one of those streams. Stay updated. Enjoy your day. You guys are awesome. Got to head off to work. I'll continue to update all my socials on what's going on. See you guys.